Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies and citizens, this joy to the world. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies and citizens, this joy to the world. I bring a message of the truth amidst a world full of lies. I graduated from learning lies to seeking truth. Indoctrinated to be too blind to see the proof. I once was lost, but now I'm found, so I shine light. And everywhere I go is darkness, so I shine bright. What's happening, Kingdom fam, Uncommoners, and Marlo fans? I am your host, Wes Blaze, and I want to welcome everybody to Uncommon Ground episode 6 with special musical guest Marlo Eugene. I am incredibly excited for tonight's show. We're going to get to hear the testimony of a unique individual, as well as play some of his music, and he and I will have a brand new song to debut and premiere before the episode's over. But first, this show is brought to you in part by Kingdom in Context. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow, and share for all your contextual kingdom needs. And with that said, I want to introduce to you the firmamentalist Uncle Sean.
Nice. Thanks, Wes Blaze. We're back for another episode. It's so much fun. And I'm also excited for the guest tonight, as well as releasing your new song with Marlo. So I think that's hopefully everyone's going to really enjoy that. So stay to the end, everybody, so you see the song that they made in the past, 2-3 weeks?
Yeah, we threw it together and it came out great. Worked well under pressure, apparently. So
it sounds really, really good. I think everyone's going to love it. So
thank you. I'm excited for everybody to get to hear it. Absolutely. How's your week been, brother?
Hey, it's been busy. It's been busy and challenging, but we are here and we're ready to talk about the biblical cosmology. We're ready to talk about the goodness of the Father, the Scripture, the Word, all of it. So we're excited. Also, we just want to let everyone know and say thank you to everybody that has been signed up for Patreon. We've been talking about this for the last several weeks. We've been talking about we're doing this firmament project, as a lot of people can see from the green screen behind me. And we're actually trying to build a small working model of biblical cosmology, of everything the Bible describes about what the Creator made. And we actually have some people that have volunteered some of their professional resources in order for us to do that. So we've been working with them, and we're putting those collaborative videos on our Patreon. So if you want to go see there, go over to the Patreons in the link of the video description below. You can see that extra bonus footage and content. And every time we do a new meeting and we have progress on that, and it's probably going to take us, I would imagine, Wes, at least 12 months. I mean, at least. You know what I'm saying? Because it's one of those deals where there's going to be multiple consultations as far as us getting the actual proper concept of what we're going to build, what it can do, and then all the little details about it, right? Because everyone is in different places. Like all 4 of the people working on this right now are in different states. So we're having to communicate, video conference, and then I have to, drive to certain places to help collaborate with one of the person that's helped build it. So we just want to thank everyone that's helping us support that project, because basically your Patreon donation is helping us with some of the funds that we need in order to actually complete this project and build a working model of what the Bible describes as far as creation.
That's right. We're not out here trying to get rich. 100% of the proceeds right now are directed towards the project, and we can't wait to have something to show everybody, something tangible to set your eyes on for a learning tool. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, and in fact, a part of our Patreon, we're actually doing a giveaway for our patrons. And I think we're going to announce this, on June 2nd?
Yeah. That's right. So next week we're going to be taking a quick break, but then we'll be right back June 2nd. And that is the date when we will select the winners. We have a grand prize here, but I'm going to give away a couple other t-shirts.
Yeah.
Stickers.
Yeah, it's more than, the stickers, the holographic stickers, the t-shirt, as well as what you see on screen here, this Antikythera watch. It's a part of our Patreon. So go check out our Patreon if you want to be a part of that giveaway. And this is actually just a little bit of idea of what that watch is going to look like as far as its function and motion. It's an Antikythera device, and we actually explained this during episode 2, where we went over geocentricity. So if you haven't seen that episode, go back and check it out. Oh, Wes, did we already tell people to like, share, and subscribe to this video they're watching on your channel, Wes Plays Music?
If they wouldn't mind, I would be utmost gracious. All praise and esteem to the Most High.
Yeah, please go do that. And so that's what's going on. We're doing this project. We're building working biblical cosmological model, and it's probably going to be big enough to put on a trailer so that we can actually transport it from wherever we need to transport it in the future. And of course, we're gonna have to store it. So there's going to be storage fees. There's going to be construction fees, but everyone's volunteering their time and their talent in that regard. But there's just other little practical things. So that's what our Patreon's all about, is helping us do that. So because Wes, I've never actually seen a modeled, not even a 3D model, much less a real live model of what the Bible describes as the creation.
With all the components, and not like we're doing. So
imagine
no
how
bragging rights, just something cool.
Yeah, just Lord willing that the enemy doesn't try to come after us to stop us from building something like this. Because imagine how easy it's going to be to explain stuff like the second coming of Yeshua with an actual model right in front of you. That actually shows all the details that are mentioned in Scripture. So I'm excited about it, and we just want to give a big shout out and thank you to everyone that's helping us complete that. So yeah, I'm super excited, brother. You ready to introduce Marlo?
I am. We have tonight, like I said, a talented, very unique individual. This man, once I was able to go and check out his music, I was turned on to what he's put out so far. I noticed that he has a unmatchable, unequivocal delivery. He's got a mic presence and a cadence, and you can tell this gentleman has put effort and practice and study into his art, and really cracked down on making sure each one of his bars are just all the syllabic rhymes. I can't say enough about the dude's music because I'm excited that I got to work with him. I want to work with him some more in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, Marlo Eugene. Yeah.
Welcome, family.
Welcome, Marlo.
Shalom,
okay.
Shalom. We can hear you.
You can hear me.
You're good.
Okay. Yeah, it's good to be here. I'm honored, man. You guys sound real official. This has been brought to you by Kingdom in Context. Okay.
Yeah, we're trying to get better at this.
Oh, it's all good.
Doing it live is a totally different game than you guys probably seen some Honor King shows that Ken Heidbrecht and I did in the past. Like sometimes, we would pre-film those and then we would have to edit them afterwards. And sometimes there was a lot of stuff we edited out because we would make mistakes, and we would say the wrong verse numbers or whatever, or just start talking about the wrong chapter because we got confused on something. So this live thing is a challenge.
Right.
Luckily, you have some experience because you have your own channel, Marlo Eugene. If they YouTube that, right? That's where they'll find a lot of your music, and they'll also see things like, I don't know, the debate that we did that you invited me to take part in with you. I hope everybody gets to come and check that out. It was a tough experience.
That was different. That was different.
It was fun, but yeah. Go ahead.
It's interesting when you have other people on your platform. Yeah, if it's one thing if you're going live and you're the only person talking, but when you're like, waiting for people to get involved, because like I said, we had a format that I wanted to stick to, but one of the individuals was late, unforeseen occurrences and whatnot. So it's definitely a task at hand, man. So I tip my hat to you, brothers. Going live virtually every week.
Yeah, I got to check. I was traveling at the time, but I tried to check out as much as I could, and I felt like people, while watching that debate you did, I felt like people tell me they feel watching my debates, where you're just like talking at the screen. You're like, wait a minute, that's not what the Bible says. Why do you keep saying that? That's not what the Bible says. You're saying that.
And it was tough too because the person that was late, they missed all of our introduction, where we covered a lot of things that they were kind of arguing against that we didn't believe, things like that. But it was fun, and I appreciate you inviting me on that, man. But you have some other debates and things like that. I noticed you even have a .com. There's a marloeugene.com.
Oh yeah, that's the easiest thing for me, just because it's interesting because a lot of people caught that debate, and I didn't think that like the world of my music would ever merge with my belief, not on this extent. You know what I'm saying? I'm an expressive, so naturally my beliefs are going to bleed into my lyrics. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But I never thought it would be that like, oh, I saw your debate and then I heard your music. Oh man, I want to talk to you, and you know what I'm saying? And so yeah, people been finding me on my website ever since that, and it's cool, man. All praise to the Most High.
Amen. Absolutely, because that's one of the things I love about the show is that it's connecting people with artists such as yourself and me, and then not only that, we're getting connected. Artists are being able to collaborate, and it's just been a beautiful experience.
Yeah,
and one of my favorite parts is being able to pump out some new music and have some collaborations to work out. And so that's been a lively experience. Absolutely. But marloeugene.com, y'all check out his YouTube. You are on, if you wouldn't mind listing them, I've seen you on Bandcamp. Do you have, is it on Spotify?
No, not on. It's not on Spotify. Just Apple and Amazon because they pay the most.
Yeah, those are some big websites. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
I don't even have any music on there. I've got
I know.
some people
I was
reaching out to
looking
me.
for you, man. I was looking for you, but it's cool because you on YouTube, so it's still getting out there.
Sure. You know I might need some help from you. Mike Maranatha was talking about getting me on some of those avenues and venues where you can distribute your music like that. So I might need your help with that.
Yo, it's deep. I was looking at how you posted on Facebook how one of your videos basically like went past, like, it's not necessarily one of your videos, but you were on there holding it down for the cosmological model. You know what I'm saying? They was trying to be satirical, but I think it backfired on them. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what happens with a lot of them. That's what happens. Even people that might have turned on this show, sitting there, randomly come across it, might have sat there mocking it, might have had different, feelings than what we were expressing. And then their buddy sitting there with them watching is sitting there scratching his head.
Like, yo, he's making some good points, yo.
Right?
Like,
the same with the Netflix documentary, things that ended up being hit pieces. You hear of so many testimonies of people, being bystanders to the whole situation and realizing the truth as a result, even though people were mocking it. So,
well, hey, man, I got your back. You know what I'm saying?
Same here. Got your black side.
For sure.
But before we get into your testimony, do y'all mind if we go ahead and play one of the jams? I want to go ahead and get one of the tracks rolling.
Go for it, man.
Yeah, actually, let's keep talking for like 1 minute. I'm going to see if it'll. I've been trying to upload in the studio this whole time, so that way we can get a little bit better sound quality for it. Because this one is, I think the first one is Concerto. I'm not saying that right. Concerto.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of your most viewed songs so far, right?
Enough, man. Yeah, that enough, man.
51,000 views on there, brother. How did you do that?
It's just been up there for a while. Running ads back in the day was a lot more effective before everybody started doing it, because if you have an AdSense account, you can just, and it was so much easier to navigate through Google AdSense back then because you could like put in all types of keywords and stuff. They weren't really like censoring people heavy.
No.
You know what I mean?
So that's a big part. The algorithms weren't developed to the extent that they are today to shadow ban people that talk about the kind of stuff we talk about.
Word. And my brother-in-law, he knows somebody who works at YouTube, and they actively have like, those type of people who sit there and they listen to stuff and then they decide what they're gonna bury under the algorithm and stuff like that. And so,
it's real.
they listen for certain types of lyrics, and for whatever reason, once something started to transition where things got super like 20th century almost, I noticed that the ads weren't as effective as they used to be. But most of the people that know of my music know of it because of that. I just did typical marketing and promotion for it to see what would happen.
That's something that inspires me, is something I've noticed with you and Mike both, and a lot of other artists that I've worked with, is you guys invest. You really put you put up some money behind your work, and that's something that I've had the luxury of doing, but I've always also had the luxury of being able to do so many things by myself. Mm-hmm. I just never did, invest in the mastering part of it. And that's
understood.
Now that I've seen the difference and really heard the difference consistently of what a mixed and mastered track sounds like what you and I have done and me and Mike did, I couldn't go back.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
Forward progression.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, while we're waiting, if you wouldn't mind, Marlo, could you give a very brief introduction? Where you're from? Where you at now? What's your name?
Well, physically, I'm in California. I came from a town called Sassoon. Moved out to San Francisco. I was actually I used to live in San Francisco when I was a child before my parents split up. And then I was raised out in Sassoon.
Stayed out in California too?
It's in California. It's about an hour away. And then, got married. My wife stayed out here. I had a place out in Sassoon. She had a place here, and we were trying to figure out what did we want to do, which spot did we want to give up. And it was just easier for me to come out here and just kind of start brand new. And so I've been out here. We've been married for about 2.5 years. Yeah. So I've been out here for about that long.
Blessings. Congratulations.
Much
Shout out wifey.
Yes, indeed.
So this first track we got, Concerto. Are we ready, Sean?
We're good. Yeah. You guys ready?
Can you introduce it? You got anything to say about it real quick?
You gonna set it up?
Man, I'm not good at this, bro. I'm not good. This is why I do AdSense. I don't know how to promote myself.
It's all good. This one's a banger, so I think it speaks for itself.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
My name is Marlo.
Echo.
Echo.
It's rough.
Live. Only on live because we tested it backstage.
We did. It must be a live issue. All right, guys, here we go.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Work it loud like. Work it loud like. Work it loud like. Work it loud like. Power flare the street up, brand new penny loafers. I don't care demeanor. Some go there to show off, some go there to re-up. We just want the freedom to be us, mama mia. One thing for the chump chains, I signed the leash. Dump flames at them front ways, they die beneath me. Duck Gracia was unscathed behind the scenes till it was front stage with the blood stains on my dashiki. Yeah, and even unforgiven. The demons deceive the regions who thinking I'm sinners. So I'll keep in my religion and preach from behind the sixes. Yet was bearing the same name. Ego homishment. The people cry malicious. Cheers then chase. The earth gets struck off my tears then quakes. It appears this day has evaded the plate that was cast upon it. I leave my heart at the gate. It still got the plastic on it. And I can hear them taking oaths back. They step inside and leave their spirits on a coat rack. Without a conscience, they step in that conference applauding while all these bondsmen the front for sponsors. Nappy in the head, acne on the face nasty. Cash be on the way, the tracks be on the page fastly. Half them overrated, half of what they make whack. But if you ask for total payments, half them gonna be saying platinum. The game's so cold, frosty. They get the profit and drop to the bottom from the top three. They rule a movement, you'll try and won't make advances. And no, they won't never stop till there's diamonds on their phalanges. They climbing on top of mansions, managers and agents. Marlo, let me grab ya. You haven't heard the latest. 36 units, we'll find the rest later. Just tell them that we'll do it inside death waiver. I'm like, let me breathe just for a minute. Let me breathe. Yeah. Let me breathe just for a minute. They rock, neck vein pop. The ideology withers unless they stop. Some people call it distinct, some people call it fly. The devil call it unique, Yahoo call it pride. They hit it big, and simply put, we let them get the seat at. Now all the antecedents, like how they get where we at. The only way to react is to rematch for the revamp, cause everyone got positions, but can't mix them through the pre-amp. As for stock, we need fair square packaging. Face to face, door to door, air to air traffic. Song license and freebies, priceless for CDs, credit card swipers and receipts. My time sits discreetly, sneak peek, skedaddle please. From the Seattle Seahawks to the Seattle Seas, cause we ain't had no sharp loans, we ain't had no cheese. Had to turn them barcodes into piano keys. Yeah.
I'm feeling it.
Feeling it. Hey, for sure. I appreciate that, man.
Absolutely.
I wrote that song a while ago. I was super disgruntled because let me see. Goodness, the story of me starting to do music and then what ended up happening throughout high school and then after I graduated high school and we got really, really close to making something happen, me and a couple of friends of mine. And so I experienced just the politics behind music and stuff like that. And it's interesting, man, because it's like you do become like a commodity in a sense where you're not allowed to be human and allow your thoughts and your emotions to truly evolve. Like naturally, me being raised in church and stuff like that, I've always had some type of God in me. To the degree to which I took it seriously has fluctuated. But the more that you feel that you want to, what would you say, dedicate yourself to God and just living right. If you have a manager or something like that, and you've got any level of success off of you doing things out of pocket, like, no, we can't change that. We can't change that. And so I started dealing with a lot of things behind the scenes, and like Concerto was a way of just me letting out my frustrations. You could tell in the song, like I had dealt with agents, I had dealt with stuff like that. And I'm just like, yeah, bro, I can't ever be on a record label. It's just not gonna work. Especially not now.
I learned real quick that I didn't want to be as famous as I thought I did, right? With the with the record deal and all that, the agreements and the legalities of it all. But brother, you are the ad lib master. I know I haven't heard anybody as good with the ad libs as you are, and then you must have taken Lamaze classes for that breath work that you did.
I'm just oh, go ahead, Sean.
I was just saying, my wife noticed that the first time we heard the first song we ever listened to from you was Katsujin, which we're gonna play later, guys. So stick with us because you're gonna love that one too. And my wife, she was like, "Is he rapping and breathing?" And I was like, yes, he is. He's good. His
I
Bone Thugs
appreciate
had
that.
nothing on this guy.
Oh man, yeah. I appreciate that. But nah, yeah, I love the vehicle of music. I love the vehicle of being able to express myself. I'm by nature a wordsmith. I'm not by nature a rapper. I'm a wordsmith who just, you know, I like to rap. I like to make music. I'm naturally a poet. And so trying to find a way to say all the things that I want to say in a song, yeah, with the time markers of 4 beats, you know what I'm saying? It's tricky. It's tricky. Every song would sound like Concerto if if it was up to me, but people like choruses and stuff like the song you and Mike Maranatha did, that song is dope. It's hard for me to make songs like that because I just want to rap from the beginning of the beat all the way to the end. I got so much to talk about.
You get so much so that you got to hire somebody else to do the hooks. So you don't have to do it. You just rap.
Word, yo. Word.
I love it. I love it. Got to mix it up. So that beat too had like a Swiss Beats vibe. You know what I'm thinking of? You kind of had that. Did you make that beat?
Yeah, all my beats. I make all my beats. When I was doing music, like I said, with my friend, and we graduated, and we started taking music a lot more seriously. Like you and I were talking about backstage with the mixing and the mastering and stuff like that. It's cool when you're just making music for your homies and your friends and your family. But once people start hearing you and it's like 20, 30, 40, 50 people, 100 people start saying, yo, you're all right at this. It's like, all right, let me see what would happen if I took it a little bit more seriously. And you start to realize like you do gotta step your game up. You know what I'm saying? Like you do have to step up your production and whatnot. Problem with that is that oftentimes it's very it's expensive. And for someone who's like, 17, 18, 19 working at Quiznos, that's not a lot of money that you can invest in your music. And I started off spending like $200-$300 for like exclusive beats. Because I couldn't make beats. I had Fruity Loops, the program on my computer. I was horrible at it. My stuff was sounding like Super Mario Brothers. Like it was just a bad look. And
like D4L,
bro,
franchise boy.
They made it work though, apparently, but it wasn't working out for me.
So, but isn't that what like mumble rap sounds like anyway? Like
isn't it
just like,
bro? They call it progression, man, but something happened, bro. That like I don't know. Maybe the brothers are right about the Mandela effect. I'm just playing. But what I was making beats throughout all those years, and I eventually started to kind of learn how to do things the right way. I had a couple of people around me that were actually really good at making beats on MPCs and stuff like that. I never got that deep into it, but I did learn how to sample. And what I used to do is I used to go to the library because, the library, if you have a library card, you can check out like the CDs and stuff like that. For Concerto, I got the orchestra. There was like an orchestral CD that I got, and I sampled one of the violins, and it just looped it and threw a beat on there. You know what I'm saying? And everything else happened after that.
Yeah, that's cool, dude. It's always cool getting to hear the backstories to certain pieces.
Word.
So this is gonna sound crazy, but in 2003, I bought a cell phone that had a beat maker on it as some sort of little feature of the cell phone.
Okay.
And so I was at work during my off time at work, and because I write music, and I was taking my chord structure for my songs and putting that as the actual ringtone with this little beat maker. And so then,
nice.
but the problem became when people would call me, I wanted to hear the song, so I wouldn't answer the phone because I just let it keep playing through because I was like, that's my song.
Right.
So I was just enjoying the chords, and anyway, it was funny, but I've never seen a phone like that since then.
Yeah. Technology is a trip, man. Like the stuff that we're able to do now is like the fact that I got all this in one of the rooms in the house is ridiculous to me. Like I remember being in high school, I had my little compact Presario that had the AOL trial version CD-ROM with it. You remember that back in the day with the AOL Instant Messenger and all that?
Is that why you had an album called You Got Mail?
No, that was because I was going by my mom's last name at the time, Stamps.
Okay.
Yeah, and people used to call me Young Stamps, which
That's
I hated. I hated it at first, but then I embraced it, and then I fell in love with it.
Did you? That's all right. I used to go by Lil Blaze.
Lil Blaze. Okay.
Because much like you, now I go by my real first name and middle name, which is actually Wes Blaze.
Bro, that's so tight. I told my partner that yesterday. I was like, "Yo, we're gonna." I was like, "I'm gonna be on Uncommon Ground." The dude that I was doing the debate panel with, and he was like, "Oh, Wes Blaze." He was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Man, that's a cool name. What's his real name?" I'm like, "Yo, that's his real name." Like he didn't believe me though.
Yeah, some comic book character. I don't know if it was the Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider or whatever, but that was my grandfather's favorite comic back in the day.
Oh man,
I think it was a Wednesday back in the day. Nonetheless, we are excited to get to hear some more of your testimony. You touched on it. You talked about, you know, making music. So you were definitely a rapper before you came to the fullest extent of faith that you're at now, obviously.
Absolutely.
And so if you wouldn't mind talking about that, you said y'all had started to get a buzz going, almost made some major moves.
Mm-hmm.
And then some things had to have changed because obviously your music took a different turn. So if you wouldn't mind talking about it.
It was an amalgamation of a lot of different things, man. Like I grew up, my mother and my grandmother, you know, raised me for the most part. And my mother she was smart enough to keep me involved in like Christian based activities. Like, I mean, I was going to church every single week since, you know, I can remember. But church was a weekend thing to me, you know. God was always real to me. I never went through the whole, like, you know, I don't think God exists type deal or nothing like that. His presence was always real to me. But just the degree to which I took him seriously, just I was like a typical teenager growing up. You know what I'm saying? I would go to church, glean a couple of different things, but like at youth camp, when I would see people like hollering and screaming and all that type of stuff, it just never registered in my mind like why people were that like just emotional about stuff. And one Christmas, my mother had bought me a Bible, and it had the King James Bible and the Amplified Bible, like, you know, in different columns. And I used to just read it like kids would read other books, you know what I'm saying? And it was interesting because it was like I would say I started doing that like around middle school. It was weird because there was a lot of things that I would read in scripture that would like kind of stay in my subconscious. As I would get older, these things would pop up into my mind, regardless as to what my endeavors were. And in music, you know, if you're making music with people who don't subscribe to what you subscribe to spiritually, philosophically, and whatnot, music is such a personal and it is such a spiritual phenomena that naturally there's going to be conflict. There's going to be conflict in the group. There's going to be conflict with your manager. If you're doing it on a professional level, you're not going to feel comfortable performing it just at any place. You know what I'm saying? And I held a lot of that conflict within, because, you know, I didn't want to mess things up, and then B, I didn't really know how to define it. Right? Like in my mind, it wasn't like God is calling me to him. It was just like, man, I'm just not feeling this. I don't really know why. As I was in high school, Jehovah's Witnesses would knock on the door. And I remember my grandmother would be like, don't go answer the door. It's them Jehovah's.
I've prayed for that opportunity.
Yo, they were it felt like they were at our house like twice a week. And my grandma would be like, yo, don't answer the door. And that made me want to answer the door. So I eventually did it. And, as I was getting older and as this was happening, interestingly enough, you know, my father became a Jehovah's Witness, right? And he started to call me more. So it was weird because it was like for a certain period of my life, I had like all this Jehovah's Witness type doctrine being presented to me. But it was, like I said, anything that was coming to me about the Bible, like it didn't have a profound effect on me to the degree that I felt like I needed to stop whatever I was doing the way I was doing it and change my life. As I got into like my 20s, though, my grandmother passed. My mother went through an episode. I'm not going to be too detailed with that, just out of respect for my mother. And I had to make some changes in life just because, first off, just the entire construct of my life was upside down, right? Because I was still living with my mother and I was living with my grandmother at the time. My grandmother passed away. My mother was no longer in the house. I had a job, but it wasn't a job that could keep the lights on. So that happened. You can imagine I was emotionally distraught. Jehovah's Witnesses are still coming to the door. And I think I was just more open to it because I was looking for something to be a part of. I was looking to make sense of the things that were happening in my life. And if I'm being totally frank with you, like I'm objective enough now to look back and say that they weren't wrong about everything that they were saying. You know what I'm saying? They were right about a lot of things that they say. Yeah. And so then I started going to the Kingdom Hall and doing music professionally just became less and less important to me as I was peering into being one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And now I had a social circle where like I felt like the things that we were talking about and the things that we were involved in was what I was supposed to be doing. It was weird, yo. Like, and so like I end up years on in. I was hesitant to officially become a Jehovah's Witness. But I eventually made the decision to become one. And I don't know if you want me to go into that and how I transitioned out of that, but that's kind of, it was weird because that actually affected my music in a very profound way, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't, I don't know of no Jehovah's Witness rapper that exists.
No.
Like you can't do both. You know what I'm saying?
What was, not a rapper, but what was Prince? I was thinking Prince was a Jehovah's Witness for a
Prince
little while.
became a Jehovah's Witness after I had already been one, right?
Yeah.
Brother Nelson, they called him.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm dead serious.
Dude,
He used to go door to door and everything.
There was an interview
Can you imagine
online. You can read an interview with Kevin Smith, I think. The dude, wasn't Kevin Smith the dude in
Silent J?
Yeah, okay.
And Bob.
So yeah, thank you. So Kevin Smith wrote an article about Prince and his interactions, some experience he had, and he said that Prince was so into Jesus that nobody knew about it. Like he had a vault of music where he planned on stocking it all. He apparently recorded like a song a day, and in that collection there was some praise music and worship music.
Yo, Prince was a true artist, man. But that's like I said, it's like whatever is happening inside of you is going to bleed out onto the page as an expressive. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully it's good things. Go ahead, King. What was you gonna say?
So let me hear, if you wouldn't mind, your perspective, because I hear some brothers in the faith talk about how Jehovah's Witness is some cult that's not even Christian and that we shouldn't consider them Christians. I would have to disagree if they believe Christ is the Son of God.
Yeah.
That if they believe Scripture.
It's like, but this is Kingdom in Context, brought to you by Kingdom in Context. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where it's like, well, what do you mean when you use those words? Because we're all using those words, right? So it really depends on what people mean when they say cult. Coming out of it as involved as I got, because I started to take a much more academic approach to the organization than most people did, because as I got involved, I liked the fact that once I kind of learned the history of Jehovah's Witnesses and how, like, Charles Taze Russell, he used to like conduct public debates. He would ask pastors if they wanted to debate on the Trinity and whatnot. And I said, okay. So you mean that this got started because a bunch of people wanted to get together and figure out what the Bible actually taught, and they all wanted to leave church. And so that's how they initially called themselves the Bible students. Once he passed away and then Judge Rutherford took over, that's when a lot of what you know about Jehovah's Witnesses today is because of the changes that happened when he became the president of the organization. Shave your face, make sure you wear a suit and tie type deal.
Presentable door to door,
Right. But things became a lot more, should I say, pharisaical. It wasn't about truth. There it is. It wasn't about just coming together. Like, for instance, things became more top down. Yeah. You as a member of a congregation couldn't necessarily come in and say, well, I don't see that the text saying that, can we reconsider that? No, it's like, oh, you either agree or you get kicked out. That's where that type of vibe started to come into the organization.
Like Steven Anderson without the shouting.
Right. Exactly. But some of the things that I really appreciated was just how they were able to describe to me why the world was in the state that it was in. Because when you're a musician and you're watching like MTV VMAs and you're watching like all these like the Grammys and stuff like that, what does everybody say? They get their award and they say, I want to give all glory to God. And I remember being in my room like, yo, why can't you bless me with this? Why can't I be rich and famous and da-da-da? Why do you bless them? And I was like, now I know what I know about the industry, but Jehovah's Witnesses kind of helped wake me up. Like, yo, the system of the world is like ran by Satan. Like, I didn't know that was in the Bible. Like, Satan is the god of this system, the god of this age, right? And he transforms himself into an angel of light. And they were opening up verses that I never heard in all those years I was going to church and whatnot. And so that lured me in. Like I said, I took a much more academic approach and a much more apologetic approach to the organization. But after I got baptized, as I started getting responsibilities, there were some things that I started to see that didn't coincide with, you might say, the things that influenced me to become one in the beginning. Some of the doctrines, Christ being Michael the Archangel, that's their Christology. They believe he had a pre-human existence. So that was the first time I had ever heard anything like that. And so I think I was already built for that. Right. So once I left Jehovah's Witnesses and go ahead, Sean.
Real quick before we move too far, how do they deal with Revelation 20:1-3 if they believe Jesus is Michael the Archangel?
That's a big one for Seventh-day Adventists too. Seventh-day Adventists.
When it's referencing Michael, they what they're saying is that like that's another name for Jesus. So they don't see. Okay. Yeah, they don't see two different figures there.
So then they definitely discard the Book of Enoch.
Oh, well, yeah. They're using the canon of 66. What blew my mind is that they're completely ignoring Hebrews chapter 1 and Hebrews chapter 2. Like, for me, that just seems like that's the bread and butter to see that. I mean, Trinitarians will say that Christ is the angel of the presence or the angel of the Lord. Their Christophany is plugging him into the Old Testament every single time.
Yeah.
Angel of Yah, that's Christ, right? And that was something that always bothered me because, like I said, I took an academic approach to the organization, and I used to love going door to door, because you go door to door, you have a magazine that you're supposed to place, but a lot of times you talk to people who go to church, and you just end up in a cool conversation. And I would hear things that people would say, and they'd say, "Yeah, I have a cousin who's a Jehovah's Witness, and you guys believe some weird stuff." And I'm like, "No, we don't." And he says, "Yeah, like you guys believe that Jesus is Michael. Like he can't be Michael. Haven't you read Hebrews?" They would say stuff like that, and then I'd go home and I'd look and I'd be like, "Man, he brought up a good point."
Specifically, where it says that he was made higher than the angels, right?
Exactly. To which one of the angels did he ever say, "Today you are my son, and I have begotten you"? Right? Yeah. Things like that, and those things stuck with me. And what really bothered me was the fact that we did not have an open forum to discuss those things. It was like, well, we'll explain it to you, but if you don't get it and you don't want to accept it, then you can leave. No
questions.
Right. And if you're conflicted, it's best to just kind of keep your mouth shut. You know what I'm saying? And don't cause dissension in the organization, because that would make you an apostate. And you saw what happened to Korah. So now you're like scared because they identify themselves as God's channel of communication. And when you hear that type of disposition, you start to question yourself. You start to say, wow, am I like Korah? Like, am I challenging, God's stewards? Well, let me just keep my mouth shut. But the more you just go home and actually pray to God and read the Bible, you start getting a boldness where it's just like, look, bro, do what you got to do, man. Like, there's some things I can't subscribe to. The idea that Christ came back in 1914. That was the big one. Have you guys heard of that?
Is it preterism or?
No.
No, I've heard of that. And supposedly, I mean, and tell me if I'm wrong, but according to some of the Watchtower, he literally lives in New York City, or did live in New York City.
I've never heard that.
I'm not saying that's not true. Part of the publishing of the Watchtower.
I'm not saying that's not. I've never heard of that. But the exegete that the eisegete, you might say, that they present is they'll go into Daniel chapter 7. And they'll read of the prophecy where Daniel is talking to Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar, you are the tree, right? They go in there, they take the 7 times, they do a formula where they go from 609 or 607 BCE, which is where they believe Jerusalem was sieged. And then they plug in a 7 times mathematical formula, which takes you to 1914. They came up with this before 1914. So check this out, right? Like, so they come up with this and they're like, Christ is going to come back in 1914. They were saying this like in the late 1800s. So what happens in 1914? World War I.
Yeah,
exactly. So in their mind, that was all the proof they needed. Christ is doing something. We were right. Our formula was right. And so the way that they explained it is he started ruling invisibly in 1914, and he cleaned out heaven, and the demons came down and started World War I.
What is it with these denominational offshoots that I've heard other types of denominations as well try to claim that demons were sent by God from heaven? And I'm like, this is a huge issue with why it was such a devastating thing for believers in the first century AD, for the Pharisaical Jews of that day, to tell people to stop reading Enoch and Jubilees. And then, of course, that came through with the canonization efforts by the Catholic Church later, where they excluded Jubilees and Enoch. So that, to me, it's like there's so many wonky doctrines that have risen in the last 2,000 years simply because man decided we're just going to start calling these certain books scripture, and these other ones we're just going to ignore those.
Another thing too, one of the things too for me is Jehovah's Witnesses do that a lot. Like if you look in history, they've had a couple of times where they've had to like backpedal on some of the prophecies that they've said were fulfilled in certain ways. I remember being one of Jehovah's Witnesses and going to the convention, and they'll have a guy from the branch come and he'll give a symposium, and then he'll say, in the early 90s, we believed that this represented the faithful and discreet slave class when we went out to the Bahamas and started a congregation, but we've realized that that's not what this Bible verse means. What blows my mind is like, I'm the type of person where if I'm reading a biblical account, oftentimes what I find is that the writer of the book is telling me how it's going to be fulfilled. Like, to go into Daniel 7 and say that it means anything other than what it says, I think is just ludicrous at this point in my life. Daniel tells him, this is what it means. This is the tree is you, Nebuchadnezzar. And then the chapter tells you all these things befell Nebuchadnezzar just as it had been prophesied. There's no dual fulfillment, none of that, right?
What you're talking about, though, is reading comprehension.
There you go.
There's this weird cultural phenomenon that's happened in the last 150 years, specifically in the churches of Christianity in the United States, where you're taught reading comprehension in second grade in public schools. But the moment on the weekend, the moment you step into an actual church building, they throw it out the window. And they're like, we're going to read one verse, and then I'm going to tell you what it's supposed to mean, and then you just don't have to read the rest of the chapter.
Right.
And don't apply your critical thinking or your reading comprehension of this, like you just explained. If they just would have read a few more verses, they wouldn't have taken some strange interpretation of that passage. They would have known quickly, but churches just completely, they're not going to stand up. Obviously, they don't intentionally and with malice of forethought stand up there and tell people, don't read the rest of the chapter. They just move on. They just read a verse and then move on. And there's an assumption there that that the congregant, like you said, most churches are like what you talked about. It's not an open forum to discuss anything. If you disagree with the head pastor, it's a pyramid structure. He's at the top. His theology, his teachings, his interpretations flow downward. And if you try to go do anything on your own, you're going to hit the sides of that pyramid in this metaphor, which is why so many church splits happen.
Right.
Because it was hard.
It was hard too, man, because I met some homies when I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Like some of my most fondest memories is like leaving field service and then going home and playing Street Fighter, right? With some of my homies, like straight up, like, and we would have conversations about King Jehu and Jezebel, and we would have all these like deep discussions about scripture. But then anytime like a governing body exegete got brought up, everything in the room got weird. Like if I ever said like, man, I went to a door and a guy was like, how come Jehovah's Witnesses don't read the rest of Daniel 7? And it's like, well, what did he mean by that? And it's like, well, he actually had a good point, because when you look, it says that it was already fulfilled. So how can this have anything to do with 1914? Then it gets real awkward and real weird in the room, right? And that's what was heartbreaking for me, because like I said, when I was coming into the organization, it was at such a horrible time in my life. I was I lost so much that made my life normal. My grandmother was like my mom, basically. And my mom was kind of like my sister growing up, and, which is why we ended up with my grandmother, And so clinging to these people, I felt like they were my family. And so I've never experienced that. I've never experienced like having someone in your life where if you don't believe what they believe, you might get shunned. And they will, if you see them in the grocery store, they will walk past you like they don't know who you are. And so I can understand why people have an incentive to stay, despite the fact that they might disagree with some of the theological premises of the organization, because their entire social network is in the organization. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so, but
I think that's where people start using that word culty.
Exactly. And that's why I said it depends on what people mean when they say that, because to a degree it does apply. You know what I mean?
But I've faced that from Methodist churches.
That's crazy.
Where I've gone to a Methodist church for some time, interacted in the youth group, met people, then stopped going because I wasn't getting answers. And, I was trying to go, I just didn't have time to go to two different churches. So I went to another church looking for answers, ran into people from the previous church, the Methodist church, and they're like, hey, we haven't seen you around. And I'm like, yeah, I also noticed at this exact same time, I stopped getting phone calls and texts from you as well. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So like, we used to go play basketball at the gym together. We used to go do all kinds of cookouts and all kinds of things outside of church. Man. But the moment that I stopped going to a regular appearance at that building, suddenly I don't hear from you. So like, it's a weird feeling that it's like this weird, if you believe what we believe, you're in with us and then we're tight, but otherwise, but then when you really start to ask them, which I did in Bible studies, why do we believe this? Why does this verse say this? What's this verse about? And no one's got answers. And they're just like, all right, well, on to the next thing. And I couldn't handle that. My brain doesn't.
And you get labeled as an apostate. Now, one thing that I will say that appealed to me was how serious they take morality. And this is one of the reasons why it was very hard for me to find a pocket to still do music while I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses, right? Because prior to making Concerto didn't exist when I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Of Men, none of these songs existed. It was just bully mouth punchline rap. You know, I'll knock your head off, machete, rip your face off type Wu-Tang style. And I can't do that. Look, I can't do that and then knock on somebody's door. Hello, my name is Marlo. This is Steve. We're here to be a public service to families from Jehovah. You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so.
Man, can you imagine? I wonder if Prince like was humming Little Red Corvette while he was knocking on someone's door.
I doubt it. Yo. Like, he wasn't out in field service with the pants with the booty cut out.
You think he was sitting in someone's living room at one point and just started accidentally repeating the lyrics to like, was that one song about all seven and we'll watch them fall. Like, you remember that?
And then
stand in the way of love. Yes.
And their savoir-faire.
Yeah, he just starts like repeating lyrics. He's like, wait a minute.
Prince has some classics, baby.
He did. That would.
But
how could the people even concentrate when Prince is sitting in your living room telling you about the Watchtower?
They were fronting, bro. Look, when Prince would go to conventions, people would be asking for his autograph and be trying to take pictures with him and stuff like that. People are people, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day. But morality was a big thing in the organization. Yeah, like they were really big. Like there are some people who are not Jehovah's Witnesses anymore because they got kicked out for like fornicating and stuff like that. And those are the people who, like, when they come on YouTube and make videos, like I was an ex-Jehovah's Witness and they're homophobic. They didn't accept me as a homosexual and stuff like that. That's the type of stuff where it's like, yeah, bro, nah, like that's not a reason to have antipathy for the organization. But from a theological perspective, leaving for the reasons that I left, that's where it's like you might want to listen to a person like that, you know, especially if they're trying to be objective. There were some people who that I know now that aren't Jehovah's Witnesses that should be Jehovah's Witnesses, because it's such a controlled, structured type of situation where you can't cut up. You have people that are keeping tabs on you and stuff like that. There are some people who they can't have the freedom to think for themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like something that Yah, like the Ruach, has to kind of like help you with that and bring you to truth, to where you're not trying to be a dissenter. You're not trying to go against the status quo, but it is what it is. I'm looking for truth. You know, that's like something that I had to grow into. I wasn't always like that.
I've met some Trinitarians like that.
Wow.
They're just repeating what they've been told, and you ask them to think for themselves, and their brain it's error 505 error.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. That's why it's like it has to be guided by Holy Spirit, thinking for yourself. Because I mean, we can make the argument that Eve thought for herself. You know what I'm saying? The argument could be made that Adam thought for himself. You know, and so like insofar as you use that freedom, still under the hedge of following God, it's not dangerous. In fact, it's imperative, because you're going to have so many different people coming at you with so many different perspectives on things, that if you don't have that one-to-one connection, it's like I bring up all the time with the Pharisees and the scribes. You know, if I'm living in the first century and Christ pops up on the scene, and I got the scribal constituency saying that he's not the Messiah, I've got to have something to help me ascertain who I should be listening to. You know,
you brought that up during the debate, and that was a really good point. I liked hearing that.
All praise to the Most High, man. And that's why I like having these type of conversations, because that's the one thing. If anybody gets anything from my music or anything from our dialogue, I just want to help people get to the point where, if, like, God forbid, if something happens to you two, right? If you guys get deplatformed, if I get deplatformed, it doesn't like end somebody's faith.
Lighthouse, it's coming.
Yeah, right. We need this, baby. Yeah. We need Lighthouse. But a lot of times we cling our faith onto certain figures, right? And then something happens. Either that person might die, that person might denounce the faith, that person might say something wacky or something like that, cheat on their wife or whatever, like, you know, and then next thing you know, that person's whole faith is gone. Oh, God is fake. None of this stuff is real. No, you should have had a one-on-one relationship with the Most High. Right. We got to work on that. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed. Yeah, we see it all the time. People get hurt by a church organization or just an individual in the church, and they step away from the faith. Like, where was your faith really in the first place?
Right.
But absolutely. We are 49 minutes in, and did you have something to say?
Time flies, baby.
Yeah, it's getting faster.
Just real quick, you mentioned about people thinking for themselves, and you gave an example of first century Pharisees, but I was thinking of the angels. And that's an entire class of, according to scripture, millions upon millions of entities that serve the Father, and we had approximately 200 of them rebel.
Right.
And they, we see that play out in scripture, but then you think about all the others that did not rebel and still haven't rebelled, knowing that they can rebel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's the thing, is like they're actively every day choosing the Father. They're choosing his ways. They're choosing, yes, whatever mission, whatever purpose they are created for, whatever type of angel they are. They're every day they're choosing that. They are thinking for themselves because they do have the choice to go outside of his will, and that's something where, and they have, I would suggest, perfect theology. They know the truth about everything, right?
Exactly.
And they can still say they want something different if they choose to, like a few of them did. It's wild. I'm not going to bring slander against a celestial being like Jude talks about, but I'm baffled.
I feel you, man.
I'm baffled to think about being in their position and then saying, this is all we know, and we get to see and hang out and be around the Father, and mankind doesn't, at the bottom level of the firmament. And this is all we know. We were created on day one. We watched the rest of creation being made, and I'm still going to choose something different. What else is there to choose?
I feel you on that.
And that's why their punishment is so harsh, because to whom much is given, much is required.
100%. So I want to be a fly on the wall in that conversation of those 200 watchers when they're talking about, let me not suffer this penalty of this great sin alone, but bound yourself together with mutual imprecations to this oath with me, so that and I'm like, that's not compelling to me. If I'm standing there, like, that's not compelling speech to me. If this is all I know, and I know the Father, I've seen the power of the Father, and then I've seen like the minuscule nature of mankind. And I'm like, yeah, so what? Shorty does look good, but I'm not gonna be kicked out of heaven because of.
But bro, there were 199 of them that were like, okay, yeah.
That's literally the first bros before ladies speech, right?
And if the three of us were angels, we'd be in the back looking at each other like, nah, we're good, bro. We're gonna go back over here. We're cool. Yeah,
like, I don't know about this Sammy guy. Crazy.
You feel me?
Man, I mean, it's truly like, this is reminds me of 1 Corinthians 15, Paul talks about, bad company corrupts good character.
Very good point.
And I'm sitting there thinking about that even applies to the angels who've seen all of creation, who have perfect theology with the Father. They don't have any confusion they have to weed through, and yet they still found themselves in a place of temptation and succumbed to it, But the good news is that was like a minuscule percentage compared to the greater amount of brethren that have been faithful this whole time.
Yeah, because you said there were millions of angels, but then you said only 200 of them rebelled. Are you sure it wasn't a third of them?
Right. Oh yeah, there's a lot of people. Yeah.
Now, does the Jehovah's Witnesses also teach that a third of the angels rebelled from heaven?
Well, that's 1914. So what they're saying when they teach the 1914 doctrine is that 1914 is when Christ. Where's my mic at? There. Christ started ruling, and what happened was Michael and the angels went to war in heaven. A third of them were cast down, and that started 1914 World War I. That's the theology.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's tough, man, because it's like I said, like I'm trying to be as diplomatic as I can with my words, because I know the rank and file. These aren't stupid people. Yeah.
Right.
But there's just something that happens when people align themselves with things. It's what did Carl Jung say? He said, people don't have ideas have people. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happens. That's what,
if I may philosophically try to put another way of what you're grasping for there, when you think you see people that are bound up in theology that's destructive or that's cultish because of its inclusiveness,
right,
and it can't be questioned. And you're like, how could that person who is a good person and great morals and is fairly intelligent from everything you can ascertain, how in the world do they adhere to this? Why didn't they go through that process like you went through, where you're like, well, I don't think that explains everything. So you kept searching for more answers, better answers, looking at the word, reading the word. And I truly believe it's the same thing like we face with the biblical cosmological concept. Extremely intelligent people, but there's hundreds of verses that negate the brainwashing they've been told. The brainwashing is powerful because of fear of man.
Right.
So this is the character flaw, in my opinion, from my observation of study, that when a person is intelligent and good-hearted, they want to do what's right, they want to love the Father, but they're bound in this weird theology, it's because some man that they either feared or respected convince them of that theology, and they don't want to disappoint that man.
Right. Very good way to put it.
So then they get bound up.
Holding the traditions of men over, the truth of God.
Once I found out about biblical cosmology, right, coming out of the organization, because cosmology was not, a hot topic of discussion in the organization. Yeah, like I said, it was the 1914 doctrine and their Christology that I had the biggest issue with, and just the construct of how I wasn't allowed to have my input. If I found something and I said, "Hey, I think that this theological premise is wrong," whatnot. So I found my way out. It was about 3 to 6 years before like I really started to like keep Torah or anything like that. I was still into the Judeo-Christian ethic. Once you become a Jehovah's Witness and you know everything that you know about the Bible, it's hard to let it go, because it's like, what else is out there? Like, so I would study. At this time, YouTube wasn't as bad as it is now. We talked a little bit about AdSense and how you could say things and not have to worry about getting deplatformed, or the algorithm putting you on page 313 and all that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to be so frank with you. I don't know how I came across Flat Earth. I don't remember how that transpired.
It was literally just randomly popping up in recommended algorithms at times. It was happening.
And I would watch the experiments, and I was never like a NASA globe guy. I wasn't into that stuff. I lived in Sassoon, right? Across the street, somebody's selling weed outside. We weren't sitting around talking about space. You know what I'm saying? Like I just didn't grow up where that was like a big deal. Man might have landed on the moon. Maybe he didn't land on the moon. We don't really care. Yeah. But once I started to see those videos, and it hit me the degree to which certain government entities will go to pull a wool over people's eyes, that's when I started to really get jacked up. I was like, wow, this runs deep. Like, why would they lie about that? And then I started seeing the sunspots on the clouds did it for me, because I was like, that just doesn't make any sense. I've never seen a camera go up that high and take images of those things. Then I started talking all scientific all of a sudden. I'm like, what? The trigonometrical formula, 8 inches per mile squared. My partners was like, bro, what are you talking about? Like,
I can relate.
Who is this? But
I can relate.
And then go ahead, King.
Oh, brother, I just wanted to say, I wanted to hear some more of your testimony with biblical cosmology, and then maybe hear a little bit more of why you came out of Jehovah's Witness. But before we get back into that, topping off the second hour here, can we go ahead and play one more? I just want to squeeze all the music in tonight.
Let's do it.
We got Katsujin. Is that the one? Katsujin,
this is the one.
It is. This has got to be one of my favorites.
Ride the wave. Yes. That's only your face. Katsujin. Things are not the same. We've all gone insane. And I sing. This whole game is fictitious. Mainframes fraying, just stay in position. Though I worry through the trench, I'm ignited beneath the nimbus. Lightning hits my spirit, stays in amazing condition. Yeah, these anecdotal quotables make memoirs. Trojans leap the Maya. We install, wearing king's attire. Exemplar, in the ring of fire. No pinfalls. Yes, I'll be the poet instead. That's when I fly off at the mouth. Everything I said went over your head. Connect the dots, so we spoke to the deaf. Spoken with death, dumb enough to take that butter for a loaf of that bread. Ignite the flames, lit match, engage. Spit that. Life is a stage, I flip a page. Kick back, yeah. I'm over 30 in Japan with the wakeboard in May. Off the coast for the wave. Wait, chalice is dripping malice. My challenges fill a cup up. Pacifist till disaster. His ratchets is getting under. They catch my assassin fist from the rafters. I'm balancing on the canvas. A scan till a ninja mask. I'm like, what's up, bro? Soon as I came back from the harbor, he took the cherry of his cigar and burnt a hole in my armor. Like you not no Vladi Divad. Not gonna block the Shihan with these blue Hadouken DVs and these Hatsumaki Reeboks. They be on. Cyrax with the sauce. Just trying to sing my song. Like sit back and be calm. But not yet. See everybody around us about the peso. But the kamikaze got us out of town, we tryna lay low. Loop-de-loop and coast, we juking troopers moving through Sassoon with superhuman platoons with the Rugers and they bulletproof. When 2-on-2 with these dudes in the Mugen got bazookas and then blew out their computers. CPU like do. Yeah, they got the tape. Yo, love, the same one that came and told you to wait. Hold up, slicker the bruisey cool while you masked up. When in the city hall, armed with God's law, quarter blue on the fringes. They got to consider the cadence and rhythm where the flow from. Invented the way that it's fitted over low subs. The image I paint them with mittens in the snow dust. I'm Citizen Kane in a blizzard with the rosebud. Yes. Ride the wave. That's only your face. Katsujin. Things are not the same. God's not there. We've all gone insane. Katsujin.
With these blue Hadouken VVs and then Tatsumaki, what is it? Tatsumaki Reeboks. That goes hard, brother. You muted.
Yeah, the Tatsumaki Reeboks.
Tatsumaki, there it is. What does Katsujin mean?
It means life fist. So I had a song called Satsujin back in the day, and I have a partner. He all into like ninjutsu and stuff like that. And he was like, "You can't name it that because that means death fist, and that's bad, you know." And I was like, "All right, for sure, break it down to me." And then when he broke it down to me, I was like, "Huh, that's deep. That's deep. All right, I'll switch it up." So I switched the name. My wife hates that beat. She hates
Really?
because my wife is into like Paula Cole and Linda Ronstadt and stuff like that. It's dope because
old school contemporary.
Yeah, it's cool because I like getting her input. I like getting input from people who don't listen to or like rap, because you get some of the best advice. You know what I'm saying? There's times where you do got to lighten it up a little bit. But yeah, like I said, man, no hook on that song. You know, I did. Those are my favorite types of tracks to make. You know, just
I felt like there was a hook. Like I was hooked in by the ride the wave.
Yeah. That's the best I can do sometimes. I'll put one in the beginning and the end. They'll be all right with that.
That's right, you did. Okay. I see how you did it. It still worked out well.
Yeah, man.
That's
Fun, man.
I like the beat.
I appreciate it, King. It's I'm trying to find that delicate balance. You know what I'm saying? Because and I do think it's imperative that as a community we do kind of get together and talk about entertainment and art on a more objective level, because I've been one of Jehovah's Witnesses, so I know what it feels like to make your brother feel like he's less righteous and less spiritual because he watches different movies and stuff than you. And now granted, there is a time where like you do got to check your brother, like, okay, that's kind of out of pocket. I would never watch that. I don't think you should watch that. But then there's other things where it's like sometimes that term secular can get like demonized in a sense where, like, you know, so like last week I went to the taqueria and got a burrito, right? It wasn't a Torah burrito. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a Torah observant taqueria or anything like that. The guy has his talent. He has a craft. He has a restaurant. He made me some food and I ate it. You know what I'm saying? And so like for me, like a lot of my influences, like I love Johnny Cash. He'll talk about God in certain songs, and in other songs he'll tell a story. You know what I'm saying? And you have like Coldplay, Lauryn Hill, and stuff like that. These are artists where I feel like sometimes you can find artists who have like a good balance to where you don't feel convicted after listening to their music. And I'm looking and I'm finding that delicate balance. Things I watch, things I listen to, and stuff like that. You know, because I'm not the guy that's gonna condemn a brother for watching certain movies. Unless it's like Jokers is in there like using Ouija boards and stuff like that. Those might be the movie I'm like, yo, Ak, you might want to chill off that. You know what I'm saying? But like a movie with some violence in it, it's like, bro, are we gonna sit here and pretend like Phineas didn't ram through the brothers that came back to the camp with Moabite women? Like, you know, if any story in the Bible was made legitimately on screen, it would be rated R straight up. Like,
oh yeah, they keep trying to make this Samson story over and over. Like every 10 years, some B-rated studio puts out a B-rated Samson movie, and you're like, yeah, you can't show the true gore of him slaying 1,000 men with a jawbone of an ass.
You know what I'm saying? Like over 180,000 Assyrians dead.
At one point, like you got to take the human grit off that bone so it can be ready to use again. Like it gets crazy. The reality of 2 Samuel chapter 23, where you got that the dude who was a bodyguard for David who jumped into a pit and fought a lion on a snowy day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, these dudes were not joking around. These were hardcore men. And supposedly that same bodyguard, he fought 2 Egyptians and took their staff and spears from them and then killed them with their own weapons. So like, these are hardcore guys. These are not people playing around. There's that one story in 1 Samuel where David fought so much he's literally physically exhausted, and the Philistines are like, oh, now we can get him. Because he's tired. He's tired from what? From slaying people all day. Think about how many people you got to slay to be so tired you can barely move. Like, it's there's some harsh grit reality out there, but it is funny because people just try to act like, oh, Hollywood gore is like somehow a different level, and that's not, it's somehow you're glorifying violence.
Right.
And because I've heard this a lot growing up. I took martial arts my whole life. In fact, I went on a missions trip to the Philippines, and for 2 weeks I taught kids in these villages martial arts and Proverbs. And so like I was trying to teach them the scriptures while I was showing them how to throw people around and kick people. So but people have told me all my life, they're like, well, martial arts is, don't you understand that how satanic that is, and that has ancient origins and Eastern mysticism and everything. And I'm like, bro, David had to learn how to block, how to strike. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some reality here that you're overlooking. Yeah, we can't say that every single thing that's secular doesn't have some sort of purpose.
Right. And I, much love to my brothers and sisters out there. Like, and there's certain respects where I have a weak conscience. Now, my objective in life, though, is to not put my weak conscience on my brothers to where they can't enjoy something that might not necessarily be bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, music has always been vocational for me. You're not going to catch me in the booth on Shabbat, just because in my mind, the way I view my music, I've always made money off of it. Now, if Wes makes music on Shabbat, I wouldn't hold that against him because that's not his conscience. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't judge him for that. But for me, like, just based off of, like, it's my craft. It's like the dude at the taqueria. I might drop a EP tomorrow that's all about love. You know what I'm saying? I might drop a album that does talk about my childhood and stuff like that, and doesn't even bring up me becoming a Jehovah's Witness or anything like that. Naturally, like I said, God is going to bleed into all my lyrics because he's such an integral part of my life, and I'm an artist. But I don't say I'm going to make a Christian album. How many Bible verses can I put in this song? That's not my swag. If that's yours, that's cool. But like, that's not how I write songs. You know what I'm saying?
And that's part of the great thing about being an artist. You can always reinvent yourself. With every song, it can be a new outlet and venue channel for you to be able to express some aspect of your creativity, your thoughts, feelings.
And being balanced. Because there is an element. And now listen, here's the flip side to that, though. The criticism that hip hop gets, I understand it. You know what I'm saying? Because it does promote a lot of bad things, and it does glorify a lot of bad things outright. You know what I'm saying? There's some lyrics where it's just like, they're so blatantly derogatory that it's just like, you can tell it's for shock value. You know what I mean? And to that degree, it's like, no, you're absolutely right. You shouldn't make music like that. But there's like a middle ground to where you can enjoy it, where sometimes even that gets demonized. And that's where, I kind of hope that, people could be a little bit more objective,
Something I've appreciated about your music that you've had out here in the past years, that you've traded the vulgarity for vocabulary, because that's like, and that's all too often. I feel like that's one of the big reasons people just use vulgarity in their music or just in conversation, period. It's because they don't have the vocabulary to replace it with. And so I can appreciate that fact about you.
Especially like, from in my culture, saying the N-word is like, that's like everyday language type deal. And that was probably like, after I came out of being one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and I started to get back involved in music, I had at my house in Sassoon, I built a studio, so I was actually able to keep the lights on by running the studio. That's hard, right? Because all the Bay Area type rappers that are around you, it's like if they're not in the studio dissing somebody, they're in there talking about all types of stuff they do in the club and with women and stuff. I won't go into detail. You already know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And even mixing a song down where somebody's rapping like that, it just bothers you. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to listen to it over and over and then compress it here and then mix it here. And I'm just like, ugh, yuck. I feel gross. You know what I'm saying? So I understand people's disposition, with regards to lyrical content and whatnot. But like I said, there's people like Lauryn Hill, for instance. Like, man, she inspires me so much because she's like the perfect blend of poetry and hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what it should be. That's what it should be. You should be able to talk about whatever comes your way and turn it into lyrics, but do so in a way where you don't lean on vulgarity, like you said, to get your point across, because it's the easy route to go. But it's not the easiest thing, but it takes a while.
Marlo, when you blow up, you should ask Lauren if she wants to join you and come back on the episode.
Bro, I can't blow up. I'm a flat earther. As soon as that's never gonna happen.
Hey, there are not just people in Hollywood, but there's people in large.
They're on the DL though. They're on the DL.
Yeah, they won't talk about it publicly, but they all know.
And I'm already on here. I'm already on here. So they're gonna look back at all the videos I did and they're gonna be like, aha, got him. I don't care though. I'd much rather have my family in Torah and my family in Christ vibe with me. If it's 20, 30 of them, it's cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to get famous or nothing like that. You know
in fact, West Blaze, do you remember me talking about that random interview that we saw? Not you and I, but me and a buddy Ken. We saw this random interview from, man, I can't remember that guy's name, Nathan Roberts, maybe. And it was they were interviewing Jack Musk, Elon Musk's nephew.
Oh, bro, I remember you guys talking about this.
Yeah, and he was talking about that his family taught him about Leviathan,
right?
Being in the earth. And I'm like, and the guy doing the interview, Nathan Roberts, didn't know where to go with the conversation because he didn't know anything about Leviathan. And I'm sitting there going, oh, if only I'd have been there. Because I would have, wanted to plug more to be like, all right, what else your family teach you? They teach you about this, this, and this, because I know there's a double dichotomy of what is taught to the quote unquote elites and what they know as truth versus what they are told to tell the rest of the world for this grand purpose of deception. Absolutely. Yeah. And this dude was literally on camera saying, yeah, my family told me growing up about this Leviathan, that we're on the back of a big dragon. And I'm sitting there going, that's insane for him to say that, like, and it's not insane, obviously, because scripture talks about it, but I'm just saying, like, it's insane that he would just, like, it's nothing, just talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, yeah, they know.
Right, man.
They know. And this is, to me, why it's such a big deal when Yeshua returns. Because this, to me, is why Revelation tells you,
bro,
these demons in Revelation 16 are sent out to gather the kings of the earth and all their armed forces because they know he's returning. So, like, I know Yeshua says no one knows the day or the hour but the Father, but they definitely know the
it's about to happen.
Proximity, because they literally assemble the forces, as many as they can muster, to wait underneath his return and try to fight him. Like, they know something. You know what I mean? And so They also know he's coming down through the firmament too, because these are Babylonianites, right? These are the long progressed, long-standing followers of ancient Babylon. So, like, they 100% know we live in an enclosed cosmology, and that the angel and the Creator and His Son are above us. So, it's just. I'm sorry, I'm derailing.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. And you want to talk about being in a control group? I'd imagine being in Hollywood and being, like, signed and being on the tip top levels of success by the world standards. You're really in a control group. You can't speak your mind. And the worst part about it is you probably know all this stuff is true. All the crazy stuff that I used to hear Alex Jones bringing up about the Hollywood elites and stuff like that I never thought was true. The things like how you had the video about Molech and the United Nations and stuff like that. You hear stuff like this, but you're like, yeah, nah, right? Then you start going down the rabbit trail. It's like, oh snap! Like,
this is how frustrating YouTube is. That video you just referenced, my number one video on my channel. I literally made it falling asleep on an old phone with an old video program, and if you turn it up really loud, you can hear my wife snoring next to me. Like, I literally made it because I didn't realize the audio was bleeding through. Like, it was the most ridiculous, horrible production quality, and I made it on a whim. And I was planning to, like, take it down the next day when I woke up, and I was like, man, I really posted that before I went to sleep, because I'm laying in bed falling asleep, and I'm like, let me put this together. Throw some scary music behind it, and it's like my number one video.
And that was the most high. It was like, yeah, they need this right here.
And then I spent, like, all this time with learning software programs and putting together clips and doing production interviews, and then that maybe gets 700-800 views. But then I just. Yeah, it's frustrating.
Hey, I can relate in the sense that these songs that we put together for this episode and Mike Maranatha, 2-3 weeks tops, all we had to throw it together. They've been some of the best songs I've ever made. So
amazing.
I think that's cool too, because, like, I've heard of people. This isn't really my method, but there's a lot of people who you hear of artists who will go into the studio and they'll record like 40-50 songs for one album, and then they'll go through all those songs and then try to pick out the best 10 or 15. Right? I've never done that, but I keep hearing that. It's like the thing that you think is going to resonate with people is like the one that you least expect. It's like the interlude.
Actually, when I was younger, after college, I played at churches, and I would go and, like, play for the youth groups and stuff. And I would do that where I would trim down from like 40 songs down to like 9 or 10. And then and I didn't know what people would like at first, so I would like put different types of music types within that 9 or 10, and people would come up afterwards and they'd be like, "Oh, that one song you sing about this, I loved it, and I'm sitting there thinking, "Yeah, I don't like that song."
The one I threw together in 5 seconds.
Yeah. It's weird. Like, you know, what I think is amazing, people don't ever talk about it, and then the ones I don't like, they love it. Yeah.
Right.
So speaking of music, then let's talk about. So you used to go by Young Stamps.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what is 531? Is it Coot?
Yeah, that's the house that I used to live at in Sassoon. And like my house is like in my city, my house is like the symbol for like the central hub of music. Anybody who did music in our city came over my house and either crashed there, they were there during somebody else's studio session, whatever the case may be. And that's one of the cool things about, this is what I will say, like some of my most fondest memories making music back in my city before like I kind of made the changes that I made. I built a reputation for being able to get with artists that had a talent, but they didn't really know, well, I don't know what type of song to make. And then like I would make a beat on the spot. Like, what did you want to say on the song? All right, let's make the string sound like this, because that, the emotion in the strings should match what you're rapping about. You know what I'm saying? And those were the fun moments. Those were the moments where I feel like I found that balance.
I bet, yeah.
So
who'd you like? Did any big names come through? Did you have like Keek the Sneak?
No, not come to the studio to actually record. There were a couple of Bay Area artists. Like one is Pizzo. I did work with him in high school, and he was probably the one with the most notoriety that I ever worked with that actually came over my house. Right. But we were already at a point where people could just send you the Pro Tools, and then you could just do your part and then collab with them. So
yeah,
Pizzo, like Piezoelectric.
I don't know, maybe his name is actually Pizzo, Pizzo. Oh, you're talking about an artist? No.
I'm talking. Yeah, the guy you're talking about, Pizzo. That there's a word called piezoelectric. Well, it's basically like when you take it's the electricity. Well, it's the electricity that's emanated from crystals when they're. I'm sorry, never mind. I don't know if he knew about it, and maybe that's why he gave.
No, that wasn't not
because it's like lightning being released. It's like a little burst of electricity being released.
Yeah. No, that was yeah. But
it might be pizzicato. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but nobody, and even people in Fairfield that got a little bit of notoriety, like the Bay Area rap just never really got to the point where it was like nationally recognized and viewed as something other than a trend. Like, okay, it's cool now, but it's not timeless. And I guess that's why, like, my taste in music I've always tried to find timeless music. Like, what is the thing that transcends genres and perspectives of the songs that everybody likes? I don't care who you are, you love that song, you love that particular, like my wife, she loves a lot of timeless music. And so a lot of the music that I never listened to growing up, I listened to with her, and she'll break it down, because my wife is an actual musician. She can play the guitar, she can sing and stuff like that, and she puts me up on game. And I approaching music with like almost like academia, like I did when I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses. There's a lot of utility in it. There's a lot of utility in understanding how chords work and understanding the right amount of complexity and the right amount of simplicity to include in a song. It's not easy. It's a craft.
It is. And one of my favorite videos of yours when I was doing my homework on you, right, pouring through your personal videos you've got uploaded on the Facebook. One of my favorites was just you saying, y'all gotta step y'all's bars up. And you were so serious.
I was talking to some specific people in that one too. Yeah, because there were some kids I grew up with, and I would say that they appreciate the same things about my lyrical style that you do. And I worked with certain people more than others we actually became pretty good friends, and they know better than to come to the studio rapping about certain things with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and to certain ones, I'm just like, come on, bro, like, step it up, dude. Like, what are you doing?
Well, Marlo, you're a reader, right? You like to read
certain things.
but if you're interested in something, you take the time to read it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. A lot of people are not like that. So it's really hard for them to make bars of any kind, because there's not a lot of cleverness built into their vocabulary. So, like you said, they're just rehashing colloquial phrases over and over, or what they did at the club or what they did around the block, versus people that actually like to read and study. You got some crazy stuff coming out of people that it's a joke that Eminem literally reads the dictionary.
Right.
But he does.
Right.
And that's why he's trying to put, 240 words inside of 16 bars. Like, he's crazy, so
That's why a lot of those artists like they do cuss so much, because it's like it's too hard for them to think of. Here's the thing too, like there's a lot of people who feel like vulgarity adds legitimacy to what you're saying. You see what I'm saying? So like if I don't cuss, it's going to be corny. And it's like, no, not if you work hard enough to make your stuff like honed. You know, find a way to get the words and have fun with them. It's a task, but the answer is not, well, I'm just going to cuss over the whole song. like that's a cop out. You know what I'm saying?
As I, I hear that constantly about the artist NF. I watch like reaction videos, YouTubers reacting to song. That's like consistently every single YouTuber that reacts to him, they'll stop about midway through and they'll go, wait, he hasn't said one cuss word.
People have done that to me. People are like, yo, did you cuss in that song? I'm like, nope.
Dashiki is not a cuss word.
Right. Right. You know what I'm saying? And there it is.
Yeah, it's funny. You mentioned Street Fighter earlier, and I was sitting there thinking, that's what I think of with Katsujin. In fact, I even told Wes last week, I was like, I have a heavy bag in the garage.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
That's a gym beat for me. That's a hit in the bag beat for me, because it reminds me of martial arts. Yeah, it has that vibe of like, a mixture of some Jackie Chan.
Everybody has something to contribute in the community. Like my songs, if we ever gotta like protect a family, you might want to play one of my songs before the Gestapo show up. Like that's the type of music I make. Get ready, you know what I'm saying? Get in battle mode, type deal.
Speaking of complexity, do we want to hear Sheol Flow?
Yes, I do.
All right,
that's a good one. You got any setup for it, brother?
This is Sheol Flow.
Good one. Hit it.
Marlo Eugene. All praise to the Most High. Rocking the catalog over the noise with a boy so boisterous. We synthesize with the syllables of voice of the voiceless. Tell Sealy, them purple raindrops make doves cry. Army ants on blue falcons, slugs fly for the green. These animals might bring the opposite. Kingly imposters, don't you sell them all freedom, baby. Dream about Auschwitz, they'll kingly concoct sick. Decrease with your Congress, delete, take a seat to repeat. That's what the Fox say. It's spy query. If only crocodiles crawl by as fire despairing. For any crying near me, these scientists and these scribes try to pierce me with sheer theories. I share theories I've read, I'm hearing all that red herring. Jeremiah verse, baptized, finna scare demons. Brightburn, cast iron, and appear secrets to them white shirts. Black ties with the earpieces to they pipes burst. Capsize, millionaire features. Meanwhile, I'm high life, no tie-dye, high right. While holy Elohim fly by on Mount Sinai like that real, that mood. Anoint me with the truth, kept it crude. My flow is like Shalom Ark before the cops get called. Your flow is like that Moloch before the Taj Mahal. My flow is like that open palm with the law and the Psalms. Your flow is like that post hoc, ergo prop the heart. Like ain't no high fives in the asylum, only high tides in the Poseidon. Hold them 9 lives that you confide in. Only gave them 8 more chances to repeat 8 mass deadly figure 8 tags in the GT. You know who it be, we fantasy removers. Battle legal music, batteries included. Even Moshe tell you about the sword blade. Sheol flow, going to a court date. I spill acrylic, my lyrics mirrors the fearless. If interference get near to the spirit, shields my appearance. Black cloaks that disappear in the black smoke. Cause everybody's a rapper until they flat broke. No way to hate them, I don't dread them, I tape with fate them. No way to hate us, all you get is Kamehamehas. Deathstroke, neck rope, lunatic, XO kisses to you pests, ain't no room in here.
You can cries over. So low.
Another nice little vocal chorus there at the end thrown on. Good stuff, brother.
Oh,
enjoyed it.
Appreciate
Another one of those where you got the cadence and the delivery with all the vocab just strung together in a delicate balance, like you say.
Appreciate that.
Very well done. Do we have somebody, maybe Sean, in the there it is. We had a special guest that wanted to come through tonight, Mr. Mike Maranatha, surprising everybody.
What's up, y'all?
Not a lot, brother. King. How are you?
Man, Marlo, it's nice to meet you, bro.
Nice to meet you too, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Like Marlo.
Yo,
I heard Mike was telling me earlier you were a fan of Marlo's as well. Did you say you enjoyed his music?
Well, I just found your music today, bro, and
For sure.
bro, like hats off to you, bro. You're like a diamond dozen, bro. Like there's
Oh
there's
man, hey,
only one
all praise
person
to the
I
Most High,
could,
man.
yeah, there's only one person I could compare you to. It's a dude named Toby Nwigwe. Have you ever heard of him?
I have, yeah.
Y'all have a similar y'all's rhyme structure and the
Our approach.
vocabulary is just like it's a very rare talent, bro, and it's so unique. And it's, bro, you say you couldn't blow up because you're a flat earther, bro. If you keep doing that, somebody's gonna hear it, bro.
Maybe you know what? It's more so like I don't know if I want to, man, because I like having the freedom to be able to just link up with my brothers and just chill like
Bro,
we chilling right now. You know what I'm saying?
look at that Tom McDonald dude. He's supposedly independent, bro. You don't gotta sign no
Word.
records.
Hey, if it happens organically, I'm not gonna stop it. You know.
No doubt.
But I'm definitely not gonna like sell my soul to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm good where I'm at. You know what I mean?
Man, you're doing great things, bro. That Katsujin is crazy, bro.
You too, bro. That Thief in the Night is on smash, bro. I seen all them features he had up of you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You
bro.
talking about me
Features,
blowing up?
come on, features are fun, bro. You gotta admit. Have you done any?
Oh, we finna hear one tonight, baby.
That's what's up,
Me
bro.
and Wes.
Speaking of my brothers, what we want to propose, Marlo, and as well, if you're listening, Mr. JOAO, I saw you in the chat earlier. I want to go ahead and announce to everybody that what I would like to see happen, and if you guys are down, say I would love to have an all-star collaboration with the four of us. If not, maybe more. We'll see. But let's definitely get together.
Everybody put an I in the chat, yo.
Oh, dude, I'm down.
Bet. That's what's up. I'm excited about it. What's the topic going to be? Let's come up with it real quick, just on the fly. We need what? Kingdom? That kingdom come? Maybe,
Okay.
yeah.
Let's do it.
Bro, you know I just started writing a song called Kingdom Come.
Oh, it's a
There it is. There it is.
No,
That's
that's
our
not
sign. That is our sign.
That's crazy.
Then you already got the hook for us there, Mike. We ready?
Come on.
It's not a
bro.
smash without a Mike Maranatha hook, baby.
I'll let y'all hear what I got, and y'all can decide if y'all want to roll with that. We can go
Okay.
route.
So you already got something in the works then. Yeah.
I got like a rough mix on a hook and a verse that I wrote, but being on a song with Marlo, bro, I think I want to go a little bit harder.
Okay,
okay, man. Hey, I appreciate the sentiments. I'll do my best not to disappoint.
I gotta say, working with both of y'all has definitely inspired me, motivated me to raise the bar as well, and to not only that, I was telling Marlo backstage before the show, Mike, that like now that I've gotten to hear your mastering, like what my voice sounds like mixed down with y'all's skills and talent, and then the way Marlo did this track we're gonna hear tonight, I don't want to step backwards. Like I'm gonna be hitting y'all up from now on, asking how much to get y'all to master and mix my songs.
Oh, you know, it's free 99 for the family. You know what I'm saying?
We'll work it out. We'll work it out.
I already told you that too, bro. I got you anytime.
You know what I mean? Hey, West Blaze swag on the song just completely destroyed my bars though, cause like just the way Westby like just the way his delivery is, like it's just so dope. You know what I'm saying?
I was blown away by Wes's verse, bro. He was hitting some multi-syllable rhymes, bro, and I was like, what?
Right.
I can't. If you pay attention to my songs, it's basic. My rhyme scheme is like they sound nice, but they're very simple, bro.
That's okay. That's okay. It don't need to be complex all the time. You know what I'm saying? And that's my issue. Like I need to sometimes I need to dial it down. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a balance. There's you know what I'm saying, meeting in the middle. Doing it at the right pockets, and then toning it down just a little bit when you need
I gotta remind myself to breathe sometimes in a verse.
Word. Word.
That being said, man, I hate to put you on the spot, Marlo. I meant to ask you about this. Are you the kind of guy that comes with a flow in the pocket? Do you freestyle much, or maybe?
Oh no, I'm not. I'm a writer, so yeah. I can't freestyle. I mean, I got some bars in my mind, but you know what I'm saying. Like as far as freestyling, like no, I can't. Like if you put on a beat right now and just have me go off the dome, you would be highly disappointed.
Okay,
drop the 16 acapella.
Yeah,
I prefer acapella. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, let me think. The thumb of my urine removed from my chest, yeah. I summon the spirit of truth, Hako Yeshua. A thunderous air in the room, I go Tesla. I summon the cherubs for fuel, I go Techron. Skyfall, sunlit milieu have behind smog. Brunswick mildew ash defies God. Philanthropists appeal to the taxes write off. Pacifists kill for a chance to lie with the czar. Double-headed eagle flying Nova University. Double-headed eagle flying through the quad. Double-headed eagle MSNBC. Double-headed eagle flying over Fox. Narrow-mindedness forms a bibliographical point of reference essential to turn your logic and practical. Still we smoothly riding down Sassoon streets. Dirty over 30, get it early, never lose sleep. Something like that.
Yeah, and the GoPro cam got the curve on flex. Fisheye lens for the curve, its effects. Show concave, then the next convex. That's exactly how they get you with the camera trick tech. Yeah, the truth's so simple, but the lie's complex. Quiet on set, it's a truth bomb threat. Not too many people recognize the concepts, but then again, they really only might not yet. But for Pete's sake, why you stuck in a dream state? Letting all your thoughts get controlled by the deep state. Parents didn't teach you better? Why they let you sleep late? Keeping your indoctrination safe like a keepsake. I hit them with the truth drop, shot it from the rooftops, and I got the truth music jumping out the jukebox, and I got the demon heathen jumping out their tube socks. Uncommon ground is a wrap. This is the new spot. Hey.
Yeah, boy.
You ready, Mike? You got something?
Oh, you gonna put Mike on the spot too? All right, Mike. Let's go, man.
That's okay.
You're muted.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Man, why you making me rap? All right. Truth is, you can never find the truth here. You ain't even really looking where the truth is. The truth is hiding like a needle in a haystack of lies from the media. They feeding you the fake facts. Gotta sway back, rearrange that. Take the vaccine and end up in a straitjacket. I ain't tripping and I ain't getting chipped, and they gonna have to come get me and put me in a casket. 6 feet, yeah, it's like that. Public school never taught us how to fight back. That's all I got.
Hey, it's all good. That's all you need, baby. Let them know what's up.
Legit. Thank you. Sorry to put you on the spot, but we just had a beautiful clip to be able to take and upload separately as itself.
Yeah,
no doubt.
You call it truth bars. No, I'm just playing.
I can dig.
Hey, bro, Marlo, I got a question for you real quick.
What's up, King?
All right. How high is the water, Papa?
How high is the water? I don't know what that. What's that
reference? Come on. I thought you like Johnny Cash.
Oh, you put me on the spot. You put me on
5
the
feet
spot.
high and rising.
What you
That's
know
an
about
old
that?
one, bro.
What you know about that 309 though? What you know about that?
Ring of Fire?
Oh yeah.
How about you can have it all?
Oh yeah.
You ever heard of the Highwaymen?
Yeah, I have.
Fire.
I always liked Johnny Cash song "Boy Named Sue." Man, I liked his storytelling. I like the song where he talked about how he made a Cadillac from scratch, just getting it piece by piece and put it together. Like that's the type of stuff that like inspires me. That the storytelling. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. That's why I brought that song up, because it's like, bro, the way he tells a story, like he puts himself in somebody else's shoes, bro. That's some great music. Look up that 5 feet high and rising, Johnny Cash, bro. That thing is rising. It's an old folk song.
I'm gonna have to check that out, King.
No doubt.
See, you two would collaborate like two.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like I was talking about earlier, we're bringing artists together. We're getting collaborations worked out and planned out. I'm excited for it.
And that's what I'm excited about Lighthouse for, is because of all the different features of linking up together. I've heard Sean talk about it. Bro, I can't wait for that.
I know.
They got
me to it. I was going to say the exact same thing. You know, Marlo, you talked about having to go through Google AdSense, which is a nightmare, and trying to get some exposure. And we know how the algorithms are against us on YouTube. So Lighthouse, you guys can all collaborate at the partner program, and you can reach 10 times an audience for $0. So yeah, be encouraged. Be encouraged.
Close those fingers and hold up the zeros.
Zeros. people be screenshotting that.
Yeah. They have a whole video about Sean. He is a false prophet.
They're gonna take Marlo's triangle from Katsujin.
Right.
And they're gonna be like, these people are Illuminati confirmed. Illuminati confirmed.
Oh, good times. Mike, you're welcome to hang out with us if you want to for a little bit longer. We probably won't be going much longer, but you are appreciated for stopping by. I just wanted to announce to everybody we're working on a song. We just decided tonight, and just look out for that. Get excited.
Hey man, I'm excited. Hey, I don't want to steal the shine from Marlo. I would rather just sit by and watch, bro. This is such an interesting and hilarious conversation, bro. This is a very cool episode. Thanks for having me on, though, bro.
Hey, no worries, no worries. We got to do it again sometime. We'll keep pumping out the music.
I want to link up with you, Marlo. Let me find you on Facebook or what?
I'm on Facebook. Hey, you know what's crazy is I was about to delete my Facebook, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was about to delete my Facebook like at the beginning of this month, and then having that conversation about the walking in the commandments, people started to find me on the Kingdom Cast, and like I was getting like 20, 30 different friend requests a day of just like Torah family. And so now I don't want to leave, you know what I'm saying? Because I actually see things that encourage me on Facebook. You know
good. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. Well, much love, Mike Maranatha, everybody. We appreciate you coming through, dude.
Shalom to y'all.
Shalom. Peace easy.
Hey, Mike. Thanks.
Peace out.
Well, before we get too far away from the topic of music, how'd you like that? It was cool to see him stop by, huh?
Oh yeah, man. That's a family. He got some vocals, bro.
He does. You talk about his flow being basic. Y'all need to, hey, everybody listening, go give Mike Maranatha's channel some love. Let him know his music is appreciated. We don't want to see that he stopped doing music one day, because I want to keep hearing jams pumped out from him. But that being said, we have a game show that we've started with a tradition. Speaking of Mike Maranatha, we did a game show last time. And it was a little tough getting a nice collection of lyrics here, but the game show goes that I'm going to recite. I thought about making some slides with these, but I feel like that would give you too much of an edge to see it written down in front of your face. But so I'm just gonna go off and try to remember the cadence from memory. But I'm gonna give you some lyrics, and if you can name the song, that's all I asked for. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
The Lord's wrath. Flying troops, phantom cavaliers, kill face, horseback, riding through the stratosphere.
It's Valkyrie.
That is Valkyrie. Very good.
Yes, indeed.
Very good. It's a jam too. We almost played that one. All right. We got nappy in the head. I'm happy now. I thank the Lord for this, and I'm just trying to get it all out before the chorus hit. You should see me now. I'm scribbling to finish this. Excited, barely legible is written like a signature.
That's Of Men.
That is Of Men. Nailed it. 2 of 2. All right. And even I'm forgiven. The demons deceive the regions who think that I'm pretending. So I'm keeping my religion. They preach behind the sixes, yet was bearing the same name, Jingleheimer Schmitten.
That's that Concerto. That's easy for me because I got about 8 songs out. So that was
just heard it. I know. Bro, that was the line. I think I even messaged you, dude. You had
when I first hit you up, I was like, yo, we should collab. And then you checked out Concerto and you was like, oh, we're gonna definitely work on something when I get my computer fixed. And we made it happen.
We sure did. I'm excited for the people to hear it. Okay. How about my flow is like Shalom Ak before the cops get called. Your flow is like that Moloch before the Taj Mahal. My flow is like an open palm with the law and the Psalms.
That's that Sheol flow.
We just heard that one too.
Yes,
yep.
Indeed.
Yep. See, we gotta make it harder because I guess
I didn't make it too hard for y'all because, like I said, I ain't got too many songs out. So
okay. I might take it back a little bit with this one.
Uh-oh.
Take a deep breath. You ready? Take a young man, make him dig 5 feet, acting mystical, whatever it be. Okay, you gotta find something never found before. If not, you just gotta spit some more. It was good.
That's Mr. Cool. Way. That was the old me. I wouldn't recommend anybody look that album up.
At least you knew the song. At least you
that
knew
was before the tassels.
Hey, in that Holes reference.
Thank you.
That Holes
nobody
reference.
caught that. Nobody caught that. If you would have bought my album, like if you had the booklet, like you would see, because I got charged for that. You know what I'm saying? But nobody caught that. People thought I came up with that.
No, they never watched Disney Channel.
I'm saying, bro, like where were you at?
That was Shia LaBeouf's like debut. What's it called?
Music career.
Good stuff. How about? They was coming to grab the guns. I seen them ride on the Senate 1500 by 1500. It's about to drop in a minute.
Woo! What is that? That new? Is that that new? Is that that new track? That's that new one. That's that Uncommon, fire. Baby. That's Uncommon. That West Blaze and Marlo Eugene. Finally,
I liked it. And so, y'all, this track, dude, like Marlo, sends me the beat. He's already got his verse on it. And I'm like, what's the hook gonna be? You know, I had to pull out that old Murphy Leo. What the hook gonna be?
I was like, I got you, bro.
You kept it a secret, and it was the
Yeah.
first time I've ever done like that. Like, I was like, how will I know what to write without the hook?
I got your back, bro.
He made it happen. Man, I'm sure there was more points to your testimony that I wanted to get to. Was there anything else you wanted to say tonight, though? We're gonna have to have you back in the future. We got some more guests
man.
to get to.
I'm just honored, man. Like, I've been through a lot in life, and so to reach a point in my life where I actually have, like, you know, family, you know, because y'all are like my family, like, straight up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just feels good. You can't convince me that the Most High isn't blessing me. This is a blessing. All the riches in the world couldn't compare to being able to get together with the brothers, talk about truth, and actually enjoy each other's company and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just happy. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I thank the Lord for this.
Where it is, baby.
Happy now. You already know.
For sure.
Brother, so what do y'all think? Y'all want to play this and come back for a minute? Or
I'm down. Whatever y'all want to do, man.
We got a little time?
Open. Absolutely.
Okay, let's do it. This is Uncommon. Marlo Eugene, West Blaze.
Need for far greater public information, and second, to the need for far greater official secrecy.
Everybody sees it but won't speak. Everyone believes but they don't think. And I just say what I saw, yeah. That's just my resolve, yeah. Still the best to blame right on me. I feel all the hate but I'm so free. And I just say what I saw, yeah. That's just my resolve, yeah.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society.
Give me the word, give me that infinitum, give me the words, give me the pantomime. We go Yokai with this sensational find. You and Jeroboam, Josiah lit all your homies on fire. Thought you wanna smoke around, shofar sounds. The troops attack in sequence, Judah Maccabean style. They said unleash the black lock fringe, the shiki, ribbon blue. The gulag cop split, you see me on the news. I said pause, regroup with my squad. I ain't got no squad, I'm just a rebel with a cause in the spotlight. They fake, they green screen, they space team. Clean to see what makes me me, while they make memes. If we don't see receipts on the meat, we fall back. Poet, priest, warrior, king, we be all that. They was coming to grab the guns, I see Nimrod on the Senate. 1500 by 1500's about to drop in a minute. I said
Everyone believes but they don't think. And I just say what I saw, yeah. That's just my resolve, yeah. Still the best to blame right on me. I feel all the hate but I'm so free. And I just say what I saw, yeah. That's just my resolve, yeah.
We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweigh the dangers which are cited to justify it.
$50 million on the daily, that's the banknote. Just for some computer animation from a space probe. That's a cartoon, all I'm seeing is a fake globe. And NASA never landed on the moon, it was a fake, bro. So peep the show, ain't no sleeping, no, I'm on no dose. I preach the kingdom, I'm still tipping on fofos. I'm posted up in the third coast, my postcode. 6 days I'm working, but the 7th day the stove closed. These days, get to hear the truth is a phenomenon. I will not be programmed, cause I'm not an automaton. Living ensemble like some all-white pajamas on. Kicking it here with Marlo, we get our uncommon on. Delete the DC, don't believe the globe scam. Deplete the elite, and defeat the program. Eat, sleep, and repeat, yeah, you know my old jam. Flat smacking pro, got the globe in the choke slam.
Everybody sees it but won't speak. Everyone believes but they don't think. And I just say what I saw, yeah. That's just my resolve, yeah. Still the best to blame right on me. I feel all the hate but I'm so free. And I just say what I saw, yeah. That's just my resolve, yeah.
Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control.
Oh man, what you think, Marlo?
Them JFK references was a factor, bro. Oh, the all white linen pajamas, though. Is that how we getting down? We shutting the store down on the Sabbath. Let's just get that clear, baby.
Yeah, still tipping on fofos, even though we preach the kingdom.
There you go.
Gotta
baby.
have the rims poking out.
Oh man, that was so much fun. That was so much fun, man. And it just
really
happened
was,
organically. Dude. You know what I'm saying?
Did.
That's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be.
I liked it, even though you surprised me with the hook. Wasn't sure which direction I was going completely. I had your verse. I had the vibe of the beat, and we pulled it together with something beautiful. I thank you for the collaboration, good sir.
It's all good. It's all good.
Brother.
Did you have something in mind for the hook? Because
No.
when you asked me that, I was like, oh, maybe he's got something in mind, because I was already getting the hook put together.
I always struggle with the hooks a little bit. So
got you.
Relate. Yeah. And so you said that do you happen to know the name of the young lady that?
No, you know, when I hear a hook in my head, right, especially if it involves vocals, I try to find somebody with that voice, you know. And then there's so many different platforms where you can, like I said, outsource. You like I have a couple of songs where I outsource like saxophone playing and piano playing and stuff like that, and definitely singing. And so no, I didn't know who she was, but she had her portfolio up, and I went and I hired her for the hook, and everything came out smooth.
Nice. It really did. It did too. So shout out that young lady, whoever she is. We appreciate her help. Yeah. Thank you y'all for all the comments. Much love, Miss Wilder and Popular. Appreciate it. What's it gets it? What's happening, Austin? We might have to have Austin on.
Oh, we got to have
Sean?
In a world.
In a world. I love it.
We got to have the Austin Kingdom Cast collaboration. The community needs that immediately.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely would reach out to him for sure.
You hear that, Austin?
I catch his stream occasionally. He's got I like what he's doing. He's going on tour across the country, trying to tell people about the biblical cosmological model, trying to wake people up, and you know, much love to him. Yeah, we should definitely have him on.
Absolutely.
You know, actually, you guys gave me an idea. I don't write the style of music that you guys write, but when you're making your joke about tipping on fofos, I was thinking of Ezekiel and the rims.
The wheels or what?
Right. And I'm like, I'm hearing like all types of melodic rhymes with Enoch and the Ophanim and the rims, and I'm like, that would be amazing. And the glory underneath the throne, the sapphire throne, like that would be a fun song.
That graphic that you put up with like the mobile throne, you remember back in the day, that was on point, because I was one of those people that was trying to understand like how did that work, you know? So I was real thankful for that.
Oh, my little crude photoshopping of the Ophanim instead of the wheels.
It made sense though.
Yeah,
it was bigger than fofos, man.
Right. That's right. Well, but you've got the 4 beasts around the throne, the 4 living creatures.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's so much content. You can make a fun song out of that and just steal that old beat.
Okay.
Is that taboo? Is that like to steal a secular beat and just completely redo it with the proper lyrics?
Oh,
well, I mean, it depends on who you ask. It depends on who you ask. Someone like me, nah, I'm like not for me. I just like making my own stuff from scratch. You know what I'm saying? It's just got much more of a vibe with it, you know.
Well, maybe just sample it for like a bar or two.
Got you.
You know,
those strings that. I love it. Hey, and when I like I said, when I first, so it was pop music growing up, right? A little bit of country dabbled in, but then I got to middle school and I was introduced to rap really for some of the first times in my life, and we went straight to Southern, like Texas underground. And then like very quickly after, I became a fan of some guys like Paul Wall, Chameleonaire, Slim Thug. Okay. Then you got Mike Jones. Mike Jones.
Right.
Those guys came out with Still Tipping. And you could tell it was low budget, but they were making a big name for themselves. They were all over BET, MTV, Top 10. And so I got some resourceful. I got some roots.
Right. The South was real resourceful. Y'all made it happen.
I got some roots with that kind of theme, so you never know what we might have to pull out. But
oh yeah, man,
the sky is the limit, as episode 1 said.
There it is.
So, are you guys opposed to me writing lyrics and then you put your flow to it?
What do you mean?
Like, I just give you a bunch of poetry that has like nothing but kingdom lyrics and Torah lyrics,
and like rap it for you,
and then you can just see what you can make of it.
Or incorporate it into.
I've never. Would that be like? Would that mess up your own style, your own flow, your own thought?
Nah, because I'm thinking of like how on last time with Mike Maranatha, when I did Thief in the Night, really all I did was I just took 1 Thessalonians 5 like 1 through 10, and I just like tried to reword it into a way that rhymed. And so I don't know if anybody caught that on that one, but that's if you just open up 1 Thessalonians 10, read those first 10 verses.
We definitely gonna go back and check that out now that you said that. That would be new. That would be new. I've never done that before. I would have to.
Paul's in Sheol. He heard that in Sheol. Paul's like, wait, what? I recognize that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. Exactly. This is so much fun, guys. I really appreciate you got Marlo, you coming on to join us, and Wes, you guys got together in such a short time and made an incredible beat, incredible song, and I'm just excited for the future when we'll have a chance to get it out to the masses. So, guys, if you like the song, share it, like and share. I'm sure Wes and I are going to upload it as an individual track on our channels later.
Done here, that's right. And y'all only got to hear it really in standard quality. We tried to get it uploaded in the studio, had some technical difficulties, but the high quality, high definition, 1080p video will be available here momentarily as soon as we get done here.
Yeah. So someone in the chat is saying, I guess for my idea of taking the poetry and you guys making something out of it, he's saying, yes, do it. And then he's calling me Lil Sean. No, see, Marlo and Wes already have a name for me. Apparently it's Unk.
There's Uncle Sean.
Hey, Wes said you didn't like that though, so I was like, "Oh snap, let's not."
I don't know, gauging by your reaction the last time I called you that.
No, bro, you're the firmamentalist, bro. You're the firmamentalist.
Right. It's really hard to get that into a phrase though. It doesn't really roll off the tongue.
I feel you.
So
what happened to the beanies, man? I went on the site looking for the firmamentalist beanie. I didn't see it on there no more.
This is it. It's a special make. It was a one-off. Yeah.
Gotcha.
The site that I use for my t-shirts, they can't do beanies like that. So
okay.
But in the future, Lighthouse will actually have our own. Yeah, we'll have our own different options, better options.
Yes, indeed.
Cool. Yeah, cool. Gotta get it rolling, get the merch going.
Yes. While people are watching this, they can see the merch on the left-hand side. They can see Marlo's tracks for download on the left-hand side, or Wes's music for download.
That's gonna be off the hook.
While they're doing it, they can say, "Oh, I love that!" Click and boom, and they can download it in a heartbeat while they're listening. So, yeah, we're getting there, guys. They're still tidying things up and trying to get to a place where they can launch with not being taken down, in a heartbeat by the enemy. So, yeah, just keep praying for them. They're real close. So.
Hashtag better is still coming.
Better is still coming. That's right.
Get that trending. I like it. Fellas, I wish we had all night because we could chat it up, talk some more.
For sure.
Yeah, I think what the biggest thing that Wes and I wanted to do with this show is we saw this topic of the shape of the earth being talked about for 5 or 6 years now and growing with great popularity. Not just amongst believers, but also amongst the secular communities. But what we noticed was that so many people, they get to the point of realizing we don't live on a spherical ball in space that defies all types of physics. Instead, they realized, okay, well, yeah, like we did, episode 5, we can't actually find the curvature. It's not there. And the average person doesn't know the ball earth indoctrination, mathematics, dimensions. You know what I'm saying? The average person just believed what they were taught from childhood. They can't really defend that belief. But the conversation never went past the plane. It never went past the flatness of the shape of the ground. There's a few people out there talking about the firmament, but even in that, they're not taking the hundreds of descriptions from the scripture to give a better, well-rounded, and fleshed out picture.
Limited.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that conversation still falls to it hits a ceiling, all pun intended. The conversation still gets to a place where like they don't know where to go after that. And so then the listener is sitting there going, okay, well, that's cool and all, but what does it matter? Well, what does it matter? The eschatology of the return of the Son of God. That's what matters.
Right.
And how he's going to use this specific model and all of its hundreds of descriptions to return and bring peace on the earth and rout the wicked out, all these deceivers and liars. And I think that's part of that conversation. That is the gospel, the kingdom of God that Yeshua preached, assuming a biblical creation model, that so this mass awakening of people will come into this realization that they're not in an occultic model, and instead they are in a model that the Bible describes. So Wes and I was like, we just need to, take them 2 steps further. Get them to that kingdom understanding of the actual, like one of your lyrics in your song, right? That 15 by 15 is coming down.
Right.
That is literally a piece of, it's the return of the Garden of Eden. It's coming down. And this is something that nobody truly understands. Like when we ask a pastor, hey, is Revelation 21 literal or figurative? And they just give you a blank stare. It's like, wait a minute. Right. No one's ever asked me that before. So this is where we're excited that there's a young artist like yourself out there that have the talent that the Father's given you to create captivating music, and you're also coming into this understanding of the fullness of the gospel of the kingdom of God, because then you can run and tell that message.
Yes, indeed.
In a way that people, like there was someone in the chat earlier saying they're listening to your song in the grocery store and they started singing out loud and didn't realize it. You know what I mean? Because that's how captivating music can be, right? You can just get lost in it.
Absolutely.
And you can communicate powerfully through it. So, big props to you, Marlo. Wes, as always, brother, you're appreciated for what you're doing as well. So you guys, it's just a blessing. It's a blessing to be seeing this happen, because this has been my prayer since I started my channel 3 years ago. Was like, how do I get more people to understand this message? Because when they do, the Bible's easy and it overcomes all the deception like super quick. You know what I mean?
Genesis is a litmus test. I don't think it's by happenstance that Genesis is the first book in what's the common canon. Sure. But if I don't think that people give the Bible as much respect as they give other books, like they'll typically start on page 1 and then work their way up. But with the Bible, for whatever reason, people will gloss over Genesis 1 and go straight to John 3:16. And I understand, you know what I'm saying? However, I'm not gonna overlook all these atheists that are like converting and starting to believe in God because they come across the flat earth arguments. And next thing you know, they're believers in God because of this very topic. So when people say like, oh, I don't understand what it has to do with anything. What are you talking about, dude? The flat earth has converted arguably more people than a lot of other missionary methods.
It's one of the greatest revivals in 500 years, and it just starts with believing the literal applications and what the words actually say in Genesis 1. Absolutely.
Amen.
Growing up, my idea of revival, because my father was a pastor for many years, and my idea of revival was that you went to church every night, and they basically had the same type of church service, but instead of just one night a week, it was now every night of the week. Mm-hmm. And it's the music, it's the offering, it's the preaching, it's the prayer, it's the laying on of hands, and people get excited and they just keep showing up night after night. And that was the idea of revival, not realizing that's not even what the word repentance truly means in Scripture.
Right.
To then you're like, all right, revive to what? And to me, it's like, if you don't understand the Father's message, your revival, quote unquote, in a modern Christian setting is just emotions. So you will, like, there are, much props to people out there that donate their life and sacrifice their time and their time with their family and everything to do ministry as best they know how. What I've seen all my life is they get to a place, just like the conversation mentioned earlier, in their evangelism efforts, they get to a place where they quote unquote save souls, and they're all happy about that. But then it's like, then what? How quickly do the weeds try to choke out that message? How quickly does that new thing suddenly feel like it's fallen beside the wayside and loses its zeal, loses that initial excitement, because they don't understand the book by which they just ascribe faith to, the message from the book, not just the book itself, but the message, right? Which is not just of the Son of God. That's a huge part of it, but there's so much more to it. Just like, Wes Blaze, I think in that debate you did with Marlo on his channel, where you asked him, like, okay, we all believe in Jesus. We're excited about that. Hallelujah, amen. But where's the rest of the story? Right. And the people you're debating, they had nothing to say. They were just completely confounded. They're like, what do you mean?
I didn't understand. Yeah. What more is there to do?
Right.
What point are you trying to make here? Like, we don't have to do anything as a response?
Yeah, like, people don't realize Yeshua is still actively doing something for them. Right. That's something, we can definitely have you back on at a future time. I know we're kind of running to the end of our broadcast tonight, but earlier you mentioned the idea of the thought process, some of the teachings of how you came out of Jehovah's Witnesses. And one of the things I would love to sit down with someone from that organization, quote unquote, is to ask him, do you understand? You think you understand the Old Testament? Okay, well then how in the world could you possibly reject Yeshua, since he became your high priest, prophesied to you in the Old Testament? If you don't understand these basic concepts laid out in the Old Testament, that is fulfilled within a creation model, that is fulfilled within a Torah construct of social behavior that is mimicking the Father and the Son. If you don't understand, like, then you can have any of the verses in the Old Testament memorized you want to. That doesn't mean you have understanding. Right. So there's a big difference there, and that's where people we're very, very excited about Yeshua. For everyone listening right now, it's the first time to see us. Don't get us wrong. We love Yeshua. We're excited about our Messiah. We think he's amazing. But we know there's more to the story. There's more to be wrapped up. There's still evil in this world. We are not preterists. We understand Yeshua did not come back in 1914, nor did he come back in AD 70. We understand that there is tons of prophecies have yet to be fulfilled. But when that all happens, it will be unmistakable. You won't be able to miss it. Unavoidable. The world will be changed forever. The wicked will be taken away. Peace on the earth. Literal continent comes down through the firmament. So no one will believe in the ball earth anymore. Like, once the gospel of the kingdom is fulfilled, it's going to get to a place where you'll understand why that initial zeal and just believing in Jesus as your savior, and you're all excited about that, and why it's suddenly a year later you're struggling with your faith because you don't know that, there's discipleship, which means Torah. There's a message of hope and redemption, the resurrection, the coming to the kingdom, that is the fulfillment of what Yeshua does for you. Like, if you don't understand all that stuff, then suddenly it's hard to grow roots. It's hard to get in deep. It's hard to become a disciple like the disciples Yeshua had, where they're willing to be crucified upside down or dragged and quartered through the streets, or, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to get to that place where you easily would not be deceived, because you understand the message makes so much sense from 20 different angles. You couldn't possibly be deceived. In fact, you're just a creative way that you just want to figure out how to tell it to people in all these different ways. So that's what Wes and I share, that passion. We want to do that. We have other brothers and sisters that share that passion too, that we've met along the way. Another brother that you guys are familiar with, Ken Heidebrecht, done a lot of shows with him.
Yes, indeed.
We're gonna have him on here when he finishes his new album. He's working on it. He's always got it almost done as well. And so we're just, I mean, I don't want to say my last statement. I don't want it to come across weird. I just want to say it's not enough. Okay, it's not enough for me to say there's a movement. It's not enough for me to say there's a new group coming. It's simply, guys, this message of the shape of the earth is the great awakening that's a predecessor to this central core idea of all the prophets, including the Son of God, which is the gospel of the kingdom. You cannot understand the gospel of the kingdom if you have the wrong cosmology.
Word.
So the Father, in my understanding, has been peppering and preparing the ground that's been laying fallow for all this time in people's minds and hearts about understanding his word. He's preparing it with the awakening of where you actually live, what he created you inside of, so that then you can understand all the fulfillment of eschatology, of why his son matters so much to you beyond just the bumper sticker phrases of he's my salvation, my redeemer. Yes, he is, but there's so much more. And when you figure out the more, you're going to be running around like we are saying, how can we tell people? You know
exactly. Yeah. Very well said, brother.
Well
anyway,
said,
I'll stop preaching. But guys, you guys are a blessing. Thanks for being on here.
Absolutely.
Same to you, my brother. Thank you kindly. I appreciate you joining us, Marlo.
For sure.
Man, we got to do it again sometime. Can't wait to make another song. I'd love it if we could go out on the outro tonight with an encore presentation of Uncommon.
Hey, man.
If you wouldn't mind.
Absolutely.
Play that up. And much love to everybody. Shalom.
Much love,
bless
man.
God
Shalom.
and may he bless you. Give me the Uncommon ground pound.
There it is, baby.
1 second. Let me
he's gonna load back up.
Get this loaded back up real quick.
Good deal. Thank you.
Because it's such a good song, guys.
Sprung it on you, and then I'll go ahead and make public the track so that everybody can go catch it. Yeah,
absolutely, man.
Everybody can catch it with the high quality live. But otherwise,
all right, here we go.
And also we're taking a break next week. Hope to see everybody back here June 2nd. Same Uncommon channel, same Uncommon time.
Yeah.
Much love and shalom.
See you guys next week.
I refer first to the need for far greater public information, and second, to the need for far greater official secrecy.
Everybody sees it but won't speak. Everyone believes but they don't think. And I just say what I saw, yeah. That's just my resolve, yeah. Still the best of blame right on me. I feel all the hate but I'm so free. And I just say what I saw, yeah. That's just my resolve, yeah.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society.
Give me the word, give me that infinitum, give me the words, give me that pantomime. We go Yokai with this sensational find. You and Jeroboam, Josiah lit all your homies on fire. Thought you wanted smoke around, shofar sounds. The troops attack in sequence, Judah Maccabean style. They said unleash the black lock fringe, the shiki, ribbon blue. The gulag cop split, you see me on the news. I said pause, regroup with my squad. I ain't got no squad, I'm just a rebel with a cause in the spotlight. They fake, they green screen, they space team, clean to see what what makes me me, while they make memes. If we don't see receipts on the meat, we fall back. Poet, priest, warrior, king, we be all that. They was coming to grab the guns. I seen Nimrod on the Senate, 1500 by 1500's about to drop in a minute. I said,
easy, but won't speak. Everyone believes, but they don't think. And I just say what I saw, yeah. That's just my resolve, yeah. Still the best to blame right on me. I feel all the hate, but I'm so free. And I just say what I saw, yeah. That's just my resolve, yeah.
We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweigh the dangers which are cited to justify it.
$50 million on the daily, that's the banknote. Just for some computer animation from a space probe. That's a cartoon, all I'm seeing is a fake globe. And NASA never landed on the moon, it was a fake, bro. So peep the show, ain't no sleeping, no, I'm on no dose. I preach the kingdom, I'm still tipping on fofos. I'm posted up in the third coast, my postcode. 6 days I'm working, but the 7th day the stove closed. These days, get to hear the truth is a phenomenon. I will not be programmed, cause I'm not an automaton. Been an ensemble like some all-white pajamas on. Kicking it here with Marlo, we get our uncommon on. Delete the DC, don't believe the globe scam. Deplete the elite, defeat the program. Eat, sleep, and repeat, yeah, you know my old jam. Flat smacking pro, got the globe in the choke slam.
Everybody easy, but won't speak. Everyone believes, but they don't think. And I just say what I saw, yeah. That's just my resolve, yeah. Still the best to blame right on me. I feel all the hate, but I'm so free. And I just say what I saw, yeah. That's just my resolve, yeah.
Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control.